but soon he will learn manners. I will torture his body so that his soul learns to be humble.
Okay, he know we just talking here, right? I mean, we just getting people interested in
Rage Against the Machine.
So, I need to start this podcast.
Hey, could you tell me about that cool jersey you have?
So, I am wearing the 1962 Golden State Warriors uniform.
Well,
The legendary Wilt Chamberlain, whose ghost struck J.R. Smith, LeBron James of the Cleveland Cavaliers, and blew J.R. Smith away from the basket, not to mention Nate Thurman. I see y'all Cleveland Cavaliers trying to claim Nate Thurman. That is a Warriors great. Y'all need to stop it. Game 2, y'all about to get smashed.
So you know
because y'all wanted to step on our territory.
Y'all want the smoke.
This is Warrior ground.
Yes.
Now y'all about to get that work. I know all of y'all Warrior haters are watching this podcast right now. So listen to the doctor very carefully.
praise Jesus.
Championship.
So, for those of us who don't really understand basketball, Wilt Chamberlain in 1962 played what team?
The Golden State Warriors.
He was on the Golden State Warriors.
Yes,
and
sir.
if I'm not mistaken, 1962 was also the Summer of Love.
Huh.
Do you think there's a coincidence that the Summer of Love happened in the city?
See, at that point, Wilt Chamberlain had only slept with 100 women.
Hey, Wilt Chamberlain set the standard for slaying.
Then it said, bloop, 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 bloop.
Damn.
For those of you just tuning in, we are Cage Against the Machine, the Round Zero episode. We are the premier podcast for those of the African diaspora focused on mixed martial arts. We love the benefits to our health, wellness, and mindset the martial arts comes
Yes.
with. And so we celebrate our favorite sport at our Premier League, the UFC. So tonight we're going to be talking about UFC 225, which I will be dubbing the Battle of the Islands, the War of the Islanders, and we'll get to that.
It's going to be some good combat.
We are brought to you by, first of all, starting off, everything that's recorded here and is edited is brought to you by Dream Ear Productions. Shout out to DeShawn Davis and, of course, Regis for all their great work in the setup.
Yes.
We're also distributed on the Sly Show Network. We appreciate all 10,000 and more of you who enjoy our content. Woo. Thank you for supporting us, and we'll talk a little bit more about what we have planned. I myself need no introduction, but if you did not know, I am SweetMBA, the god of memes, and since this is June, I have to let you know. Every Gemini who's listening right now and watching, pull your car over in traffic. Get off that BART train. Just pull your earphones out. Look around and be like, I am that guy. If you're a woman, you are that woman. Let people know. Just lean over and say, I'm a Gemini. It's my time. Until the 21st.
Just turn around and just say, since I'm a Scorpion, I will just sting your ass and it's over. Case in point.
And as Thanos would say, us Libras bring the balance.
Yes. I am a Libra, and I will definitely just balance it and get the strap if I need to.
Wrestler,
That's it.
a wrestler and a boxer versus a small arachnid. Who's going to win? Timberland boots, and you're defeated.
That venom
So,
is a
now-
son of a gun, though.
Moving on.
That venom is a son of a gun.
Done.
And also, if you're confused who I'm with, for your viewing pleasure, we made sure that we interdispersed it so we weren't all dark skinned and all light skinned at all
Yes.
one time. I'm always joined by the evil mad scientist who brings you the best in analytics and the chemical compositions. None other.
The doctor, J.K. Akins.
The doctor.
And this wouldn't be right without recruiting Queensborough's own, by way of East Bay, Mikey Mo.
The MC.
And of course, despite everything going on in the islands of Puerto Rico and Hawaii, he still had time to come and join us. Cage Against the Machine co-founder.
Brane Damage.
Thank you very much. So we can get started with these early prelims. We have first Mike Santiago, the little bully, versus Dan
Ige.
Ige. Dynamite.
You
Dan
didn't say
Dynamite Ige.
Dynamite.
Dynamite.
Yes.
Little Bully looks like he does little haircuts. It's really cool to see that G-Eazy also has another career besides rapping. I was not really. I tried to sleep on Dan on his last fight. He didn't lose in dramatic fashion to me, but he also didn't impress me. I don't know anything about Mike Santiago, but I'm going to go with the fact that he's going to underestimate Dan and give it to him in a decision. What say you, sir?
Well, Santiago is really simple. He is a fighter who thrives on pressure. He uses pressure to try to make sure that his opponent crumbles under that pressure. His style, there isn't really one. Really, to be honest, what he does is he just likes to get up in the face of his opponent and see whether or not his opponent can take that pressure. Unfortunately, it's a bad matchup for Ige because Ige sits around and waits, which is why I'm going to take Santiago by decision.
Got it. Decision. Okay. No, I was gonna go with Mike Santiago by second round stoppage, because one thing about Ige is I just don't think he has the gas in him. Honestly, I think he's just gonna end up getting stopped.
I agree. I think I've seen Ige fight a couple times. I didn't know much about Santiago, but the good doctor has persuaded me to pick him.
Fair enough. Moving on to our next matchup, we have Sacramento's own, by the way, of New Jersey, Clay the Carpenter Guida. And if anybody ever looked like a carpenter, it's this guy. You know, like when you call somebody for an estimate for your counter and he shows up, like, versus Charles Dubron Oliveira. This is going to be an exciting fight.
The old Bronx.
Yeah, this is gonna be a good fight.
This is going to be a good fight.
Yeah.
I just got one question.
Yeah.
Charles Oliveira, who the hell gave him the nickname Do Bronx? It's the worst nickname ever.
I thought it was because he liked I forget who it was, but I think it was because he liked some rapper from the Bronx.
See, the problem is that Do Bronx in Portuguese literally means the ghetto.
Oh, that's
Right.
what it was, because he
Right.
came from the ghetto and he was thuggish.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks because he's Brazilian, so we just looking at it like, what does that mean? But in Brazil, he's probably hard. Like, ooh, they call him the ghetto.
Yeah.
But
Hey, I saw City of God.
Hey, but with them glasses on, he looked quite dorkish, but that's one of them. He's the Brazilian Joe Lozon.
I don't pop mess in countries with no middle class.
no,
Hey,
That's
for
how
real.
you lose figures.
Real talk. Real talk.
And
Real
family
talk.
members. I'm cool.
Hey, let me tell you this right now. If you ever walk the streets of Fortaleza, I'm a dude who can handle myself, and even I was a little shaky. Like I was like legit like, damn, do I want to come out of this hotel room? I'm gonna look out this window.
Now, speaking of shaky, the win streak of either of these guys, both of them have been trying to eke out decisions, and that's not going to work against each other. Now, what do we have? Clay's pace, amazing. His wrestling, pretty good. Charles, we obviously know his jiu-jitsu's there, but he's been struggling a little bit with his striking with his last matchups.
Mm-hmm.
And will he make weight?
And will he make weight? And then there's always this magic piece where
At
Chicago,
155, he'll make weight. Now 145, it would have been a
Yeah.
problem.
and then you're-
But then again, we've seen guys who struggle making weight go up a class and then still miss weight.
I'm sorry, you're still thinking about
Rumble?
no.
Not Rumble.
Who we talking about? The former welterweight champion, who's really a 185er.
Hendricks?
Kelvin.
Kelvin wasn't the champion.
I was talking about Hendricks.
I'm gonna give this one to Guida by sneaky submission.
wow, okay.
On
I don't
third
know about
round.
that.
Not a snowball's chance in hell.
Okay, that's
Right.
why it's gonna happen.
And he will use his wrestling, and his wrestling will end up getting him caught in a triangle.
That's what I got.
What do you say?
I think Clay is gonna get it by decision. I think, like he was saying earlier, I think he's just gonna keep it up. He's gonna keep it up on his feet and just put pressure on him and try not to let him. I
If
think
his
he's good
striking
enough
was
to
any
keep.
good.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
it's
know.
better than, to me, it's better than Do Bronx.
You know why I'm really excited about you talking about this fight?
Why?
Because
Do Bronx.
sitting across from somebody from Queens, I could say, his mama named him Clay. I'm going to call him Clay.
Yeah.
Moving on to our next little matchup. We have Joseph Marshall Mathers haircut Benvenides
Yes.
versus Sergio Pettis. Finally, a fight that Sergio Pettis can win.
Oh, okay.
So, why was Benavides gone so long? It was an injury?
Injury.
And
Torn ACL.
I hear this guy is hot that he's on the Fight Pass. He's like, dude, I'm ranked number 2. What, like, you know what I mean? Like,
but he's been gone a long time.
Long time.
Yeah, he has been gone.
Damn, homie.
In high school, you was the man, homie.
And he's a highlight reel for DJ. You know what I mean? Like, he hasn't avenged that.
so, does anybody know why Pettis changed his name from the Phenom to SP?
I think probably that's his nickname, and also the Phenom is not as marketable, right? It's hard to say. That's my guess. I don't know. I think this is pretty cut and dry. I think Sergio Pettis is going to two-piece this man up in the second round with one of those disgusting left leg switch kicks that family seems to know how to do very well.
Yeah, Sergio's ruthless.
Yeah, I think Benavides is just, he's been gone too long. The ring rust is going to kick in.
Yeah.
We know he's going to, if his striking's, he's known to have hands, but he's basically a wrestler. And I think he'll try to get this fight to the ground. But, the Pettis brothers, they're known for their striking, but their jiu-jitsu is on point.
Yeah.
So,
But it's been
I got Pettis.
It's been
it's Pettis'
neutralized
first round.
recently. So
True.
This is Pettis' first round for sure.
I know where you stand. You
First
love the
round
Pettis.
KO.
Actually, the one thing that we need to keep in mind is that even though Sergio Pettis the Pettis name is a prominent name, Sergio is still a puppy.
Yeah.
We're talking about a guy who was the LFA champion at age 19.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
This kid is still only 24 years old.
Yeah.
Right, which
He
is-
has nowhere near close to his fighting prime.
Yeah.
And these are the fights. What do I say, Brett? These are the fights that young fighters tend to lose.
Yeah.
I am going to take Benavides by a split decision. Sweet. These are the fights that young fighters lose.
Experience. He also does not have the experience of Benvenides.
I mean, he does have experience. He is an old young guy because,
But-
like I said, he tasted championship
yes.
at 19.
But at
Like,
LFA, he has not fought a UFC champion.
while that might be fair, how many times have we seen champions in minor or lower type of promotions gain that experience, and sometimes it catapults them to what they will become later. So I think that even though Pettis is, like I said, not really at his fighting prime yet, when he does get to his prime, he's going to be dangerous because he has tasted championship gold before. Just not today.
Got it.
And to
I think you're
the credit
underestimating
of
him,
LFA.
Good Doctor. I respect your opinion,
You know what I
but
mean?
I think you're underestimating Sergio.
Yeah.
I am not underestimating him.
In this
I am saying
particular
He's always
case,
been his
I think
fan.
so.
I am saying that at one point, and I will say this again because we've heard me say this about other fighters. At some point, Sergio Pettis will be the flyweight champion of the world.
I agree. I like what I see in him.
At some point, he will get there. Just like I called it with Max Holloway, I'm saying it here.
Yeah.
And
I
I'm
was
glad
calling
you
Max
like
for a
it.
minute. So,
One
is
thing
that
I don't
after
like,
Mighty
though-
Mouse retires?
We haven't gotten that far. One thing that I don't like, though, is our next fight. And I'm going to tell you why.
Oh, boy.
Every time a matchup like this happens, I get super nervous. And I'm going to explain two things. First of all, I could not be more of a fan of Rashad Evans out of blind loyalty. I love this guy deeply.
Yep.
He has been phenomenal. I think the only other person who's been as supportive of our thing that we do here is maybe the light heavyweight champion, Daniel Cormier. Rashad has been incredible and really made sure that we had a space to talk amongst ourselves about MMA. Watching him continually get knocked out or lose makes every time when he
Hurts
gets
my
up,
heart.
yeah, and it makes me nervous because
Yeah.
I don't want to see him get hurt. Now, My hope is if I've prayed to the great executives that run UFC that they are feeding Rashad. That is my hope.
I don't know, though.
But the business sense of me says
too
that's
risky.
not what has happened at all.
It's too risky,
At all.
man.
In fact, the only time I've seen the contradiction of that is when they fed Vitor to Machida a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, they.
So I don't
man.
know. I look at Rashad Evans versus Anthony Lionheart Smith. The record makes me a little bit comfortable. 28-13 makes me feel like they're feeding him a guy that he can actually beat. Now, if I look at his Instagram, Rashad looks in phenomenal shape.
As he always is.
Yeah, but I mean, exceptional. I mean, he's cut. His hands, he's spending a lot of time with the Menace and working his hands.
But you
He's been
can't
really
work
doing
that
stuff.
chin out though.
No, that's
That
that
chin
thing.
can't lift weights.
No.
But let's slow down here because in his last 8 fights, Rashad Evans is 2-6, including losing his last 4. However, those four losses have been a split decision, 2 unanimous decisions, and another split. He has not lost in a stoppage.
But has he fought anybody even?
I mean, he's fought.
Right,
They've
Let me
been
see.
trying to
The
feed-
competition's been
to me-
getting less and less.
Well,
right?
To me, they've been feeding Rashad for a while to try to cause just out of the respect, just like Sweet said. You know, everybody has respect and love for Rashad Evans. How could you not like him? That dude's an icon.
and while that may be true,
They've been trying to feed him, and he's been losing to that stuff.
well, and
Losing
see,
to those guys.
this is where it's dangerous. This is where it's dangerous because, as you always hear me say, it is harder for these older guys in this new age of mixed martial arts.
Yes.
These older guys cannot survive.
Yes.
And what was Rashad Evans' greatest strength? His speed, his quickness,
Yep.
the quickness of his hands.
Yes.
Adds to what knockout power he used to have. But now we're talking about a guy who is going into his 29th professional fight at age 37.
Yeah, man.
At
He's been
some
fighting for long.
point, when you get older, you slow down.
Of course. You
Especially
can't
when
cheat all
your
the
strength
time.
is predicated on speed.
Yes.
And on top of which, he's clearly not willing to take the enhancers that change your reaction time the way the rest of the cheaters are. So,
Respect to him for that too.
right. So it's clearly you have to deal with the risk,
know?
right?
Yeah.
So if he was to win, my thought was you have to treat Anthony Smith like he's Tito Ortiz, and you really have to threaten with your strikes, get him against the cage, take him down, and drop that knee to his chest a couple times.
Right.
And knock out by that.
Here's the issue. Anthony Smith has extreme knockout power.
Yes. It's
Yeah.
very
And
clear.
because
That's what I'm
that's
scared
what
of right
Rashad
there.
about
Evans
him.
is not as quick,
No.
that could be
Dangerous.
dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely.
However, I am going to take Rashad Evans to actually win this fight
Good.
by decision.
Yes.
I think he has the ability to outlast Anthony Smith due to the head movement
I think that was his risk.
and to his footwork.
I think he gambled that against Kelly, and that's why he lost. So that's the other one.
That's a fair point.
That he might
That's a
lose
fair
by
point.
points because he's being too cautious. You guys
That's
wanna
a fair
weigh in?
point.
Yeah, all I know is I love Rashad, man, but I can't go with him on this one. Cause I mean,
I'm in the
just
same boat.
Lionheart. I mean, you got to think. Put yourself in Lionheart's shoes. Do you know what that's gonna do for your career? Even though we know this is the twilight of Sugar's career.
What's even worse about this is if you remember the movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme called Lionheart.
Yeah.
He looks like him, and the old broken fighter who manages him looks like Rashad. So we have to move on. I'm done.
So
Just
real
keep in
quick.
mind, just keep in mind that Anthony Smith is 4-4 in that same 8-fight span. So you have to be very careful because his only prominent win was against Thiago Santos. And I think we can agree that even though Thiago Santos is younger, he's still not on the caliber of Rashad
But he
Evans.
does have knockout power.
He does
But
have knockout
quick,
power,
before we
though.
move on, I want to ask y'all a question because Sweet did bring up a point about, being concerned about older heads like Rashad. Vitor just got knocked out.
Yeah.
Smith does have hands. If he knocks Rashad out, that's a concern for longtime fans like us, at what point do we start talking about CTE effect in MMA?
I think if he gets knocked out, I think Dana gives him that call, like, "Hey, so I got a job for
Like,
you."
I'm hoping he retires either way.
I mean,
I hope he wins and then walks
as
away.
Sweet can tell you, if you go back on this podcast, I've actually been calling for Rashad Evans' retirement for 2 years already.
Yeah.
Yes, he's needed to retire.
I had actually had a brief conversation with Rashad Evans at International Fight Week a couple of years ago when I started talking about retirement. He knows that he's on the precipice of that after having that conversation with him. Now, especially now that he's a head coach of his current fight team, and I think that tells you where his mind actually
and the owner,
is.
and I'm gonna leave it there. I think he's just finishing out his contract.
But is that a concern? Like I'm a big NFL head,
right?
And that's been a big concern for a long time.
But you have to remember,
is that something that's going to come up in MMA, or is it?
I'll tell you why it won't. Scientifically speaking, you're talking about 250-pound men who can run 40 yards in 4.5 seconds flat, which is an equivalent to a car crash.
Mm-hmm.
Mixed martial arts is not that. Are the concussion concerns there? Yes. But the amount of concussions that you would need to have in order to talk about CTE is few and far between mixed martial arts and the NFL.
NFL does not have the quality control the way that UFC does.
Or mixed martial arts in general.
Period.
Yeah.
Moving on to our next fight, we have from Rashad to Rashad. We have Rashad the Daywalker Coulter versus Chris De La Roca. Where do I begin? Let's talk about Rashad real quick. These biscuits are the best.
Are you going past that gravy?
Yeah. You know that video?
Is it me?
Biscuits are delicious. Okay, so first of all,
Does he look? Is it
keep
just
it
me, or
real.
does he look like DJ Khaled if he actually worked out?
Lightweight.
wow. No, you know
We the best!
No. It's the worst part is he looks like the love child of CeeLo Green and DJ Khaled.
They think I'm crazy.
DJ Salad. Versus
Oh, this is
Gemini season. Versus Chris De La Roca. Not to be confused with Zach De La Roca, although he looked like his dad. Oh man,
So what's
they
the
look
deal
like
with?
they kidnapped somebody off the street in Vegas. Hey, you need to fight.
Yeah, they're like, hey, you're big. You
Hey,
can
you're-
fight. Come on, Chris, you're big.
Hey, what are you doing after your moving job's over?
Hey,
Once you've unloaded the truck, do you want a job?
I know Dana White,
Right.
right? I can get you in the building. I can get you in the prelims, bro.
Is that why everybody else says United States and his says USA?
Straight up, he's not even a real person. He's not even a real person. They're gonna find out who's really fighting Rashad the day of. This fool looked like, oh my god. He looked like
great.
he looked like a foot soldier in a Marvel movie when they take the costume off him.
Wow.
The first Latino orc. Wow.
Looks like a
Did you
security
just
guard
say
at-
orc?
Look at them ears.
Looks like a security guard at a bar.
Wow.
Okay, so
Basically, KOTOR by knockout.
yeah, I mean, you saw my fantasy pick. I mean, come on. Is
Koto's
it, anybody
gonna
got a
put work
differing
on him.
opinion? Yeah.
No.
Look at this dude.
Yeah, I do.
This
looks
fool,
like-
he looked like the angry father at prom night. What'd you say?
He looks like
Turn
a-
down that music.
It's like
Daywalker.
a pallet of lunch meat. Wow.
Wait, where do you want me to deliver these?
Yeah, where do you want you to put this boar's head?
So Daywalker, is that a Blade reference?
Yes.
He's too light skinned for Blade, though.
And look, there you go. There you go. See?
Hey, Blade is that real black, the real dark. He's like
So-
me and
Sure.
the Good Doctor combined dark.
Sure. Sure.
39 shades lighter than Wesley.
I mean,
Yeah, this one is.
you want to go that route? I
They're
mean,
building Rashad up on this one. Come on. We know
listen,
this.
listen.
He must be from Chicago. That must be like Jeff Sport's like uncle or like
Who's from
cousin.
Chicago?
You know what I'm saying? Like
Who's from Chicago?
Rashad must be from.
He's
Chicago.
from Dallas.
He looks like Dallas.
Yeah, he looks like that's
Oh,
definitely
straight up, sipping
has
on
some Texas
fofos,
pounds
dipping
on
on.
Texas tea.
So I'll bring some sense to this, Cage Cousins. The bottom line is
He
this.
looked like he messed up the package. The string is gonna have him taken out.
And with all of this being said, ladies and gentlemen, neither of these fighters belong in the UFC anyway. So I'll just pick a draw so we can just end the pain.
Oh man.
I mean, with big guys, you're gonna get a knockout, right? So
Honestly,
Looking like Derek Lewis's half black son.
Look at his face.
Only thing I want to say about this fight is I'm kind of upset that this fight is not on the early prelims. There's at least 2 fights on the early prelims that could have replaced this fight.
Benavides and Pettis.
Sean Shelby thought
There you
Texas
go.
touches
Rashad
Illinois
Evans.
or something.
Switch the Rashad fights.
Yeah,
Right.
man, this is
Put Evans on
Moving
and put Couture on the fight pass.
moving
on.
on. Yes, move on. From
Speaking of Texas, Lorenzo Lamas was an action star in the 80s who pretended to be from Texas. But Ricardo Lamas is the bully who's going to fight
From Chi-Town.
from Chi-Town, who's going to fight Mirsad Bektik.
Yep, he's done.
And this is an amazing one because Ricardo Lamas, you guys may remember, is in the featherweight division.
Right.
And he was an incredible wrestler, and his job was to show he was fed to a certain Irish evil sorcerer to prove that guy couldn't handle a wrestler.
Yeah,
And that didn't go well.
at all.
He also fought a really convincing fight with some other featherweights. So he's been a great number 4, number 5 gatekeeper. If I'm wrong
That's
in
what
that?
he is. Yeah.
That area? Right? And this will
He's
see
been as high as number 2.
number 2. So we'll see. But I mean, he kind of lives in the realm of 2 to 5, right? So we'll see if Bektik can get past him.
doggone high.
Yeah, it is. Oh, I mean, if you're in the top 50 in the UFC, what you're basically saying is 80% of the time I kill people with my hands. You know what I mean?
Yes, pretty much. Pretty much.
You know, if we're out in the woods and we're fighting for our lives, you're gonna die. So,
Exactly.
versus Mirsad Bektik, who's from Bosnia. And, you know, as much as I have a certain ability or like or affinity for fights for Dagestanis, there's something about Bosnian and Croatians that also scare me.
Yeah.
There's something about Eastern Europeans in MMA that scares me.
I think all they live is war.
Yeah. I remember seeing Dracula.
All they smell is combat.
I do this for the future. So it's a hard call right here. I got a feeling, though.
I'm going with Mirsad on this.
Yeah, I'm going with Bektic by knockout, man.
Interesting.
Me too.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, again, I need to bring some sense to this.
Yes.
Obviously, the one thing that attracts me to this fight is we're talking about 2 extremely explosive and athletic fighters.
Yes.
Where the difference is, Ricardo Lamas has fought top competition. Bektic has not.
Yes.
Right.
I am taking Lamas by KO with the big lights on in his hometown.
But could we say the same thing about when Lamas fought Josh Emmett and Emmett knocked him out?
But Emmett is a top flight contender.
But he hadn't faced that competition then.
Emmett, I mean, at that point, Emmett had just proven that he was ready for that light.
True.
Bektic has not done that.
But
I
this
cannot put him on that plane. Okay, let's just go ahead and call it what it is, right? Everybody knows where I'm from, but in this case, we'll make an exception. I'm from Missouri. Show me. Show me. This is Bektic's opportunity. This is the reason why he took this fight, to prove that he is ready. I personally do not believe he is.
And props to him for taking it because, as you know, we were talking before we started rolling. about a certain fighter in Yair Rodriguez who just got re-signed today to the UFC. And he got booted because he wouldn't accept a fight with, among others, in Zabit, but one Ricardo Lamas.
Right.
And now Bektik is here. He said, I'll step up and take it. So, I'm looking forward to seeing this fight.
That was the
and
other
seeing
fight
if
he wouldn't take.
Yeah.
That was the other one. He wouldn't take the fight against
Lamas.
Bektik.
Right.
No, Lamas,
Yes, it
Bektik,
was
and
Lamas, Bektik, and Zabit.
They're like, we
right?
need to move the division forward. So who are you picking? What fight are you moving
You know
forward
what?
with?
I'm gonna stay neutral on this one. I like both fighters, and I'm
This is not
pick one.
Switzerland. You must make a pick.
fine. I'll take Lamas just because he's always putting up pictures on Instagram and Facebook of all these nice bulldogs that he owns.
Nice.
And I'm a dog lover.
So that's why you gonna choose
I love dog too, but
Okay.
Yeah.
I have.
Wait. Was a pick just made based on
Yes.
dogs?
The logic.
Yeah.
Your logic is not his logic.
Where my dogs at?
Wow.
Speaking of logic,
I tried to stay neutral. He wouldn't let me.
speaking of logic, and moving on, this next fight, in my opinion, actually should be on the main card, and the business side of me realizes why it's
no
not.
question.
This is
And
gonna be a good.
This is
war.
incredible for the hardcore fans, and I'm going to explain
Yes.
why. Claudia Gadelha versus Carla Esparza. If you could talk about reinventing, first of all, the baseline of these fighters, they were incredible. And then they suffered hardship and reinvented themselves and have rebuilt themselves. So the story is incredible between both of them.
Yes.
Claudia, we saw, fought
Claudia.
And
Claudia.
who was that hardship delivered by? Mikey Mo, why don't you let us know?
On what?
Who was that hardship delivered by for both ladies?
Oh, didn't Rhonda?
No,
Joanna.
your girl.
Weight class.
Oh, I'm
Joanna.
tripping.
Joanna took the belt from
my
Carla.
boo-boo. Yes, I'm
And
tripping.
then Claudia could never get
tripping.
close to it. She fought her twice. Now,
My
what's
baby.
interesting about this is, so according to JK, who has reliable sources, Claudia moved herself out of Nova União down in Brazil and moved over
To Latrell Yee MMA.
and that's in Albuquerque.
That is in Albuquerque.
Right. So where she could deal with the elevation and she could get more one-on-one attention.
And she has since kept Mr. Luttrell as her head coach.
Right.
And she has moved to Las Vegas to train at the Performance Institute.
Nice.
Now, Carla, on the other hand,
Very, very interesting.
is from San Jose, so she's local. We want to support her.
Yeah.
She went through a number of injuries. She went into, after fighting the Tough tournament, right? Which is, imagine, I was just thinking about this, man. I just realized, youth basketball fans, man, it was just the playoffs last week and they're here in the finals. So that's really intense. But to do Tough, to fight another human being. But we go back to the old days
Yes.
of NHB where somebody would fight 5 times, 4
In
times
one
a
night.
in one night.
One night tournaments.
I mean, and what some of you new fans are seeing in Bellator with these Grand Prix, you're seeing that over a number of weeks. We used to
Yeah,
watch that
that's
happen
not-
all in one night.
Yep. The whole tournament.
And the fans were brought into it because we'd have to wake up at 2 a.m. to get
Yeah.
the Japanese, right?
Yep.
To get the Japanese stream. So,
Pride never dies, baby.
man, when you
Yeah.
thanks for the shirt, by the way. When you deal with Carla, though, at the same time, she's dealing with that whole tournament. She had to fight 6 other women to get there.
That's correct.
Among those in that fight camp,
Was Rose
Namajunas.
Namajunas, who she ended up beating
right?
and only to win that Ultimate Fighter against Rose and
Right.
then fall short
Right.
and lose the title against Joanna Jędrzejczyk.
Right.
Yeah.
And then on top of which, Carla had to fight a number of injuries. She went up against Joanna, lost the belt, recovered from these injuries, and then is now training
At Team Oyama.
Oyama. Now, where are they at?
They are in San Diego.
Yeah, so I wanted to say it was in alliance. So the parallel is interesting that they're at these major city hubs for MMA, but they're not at these known camps.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So that's very interesting.
Which shows how deep the culture is, especially here in California.
Yeah, and you would almost, the equivalent would be like, well, you say somebody, oh, well, they're playing baseball out in California now. Oh, they're in the Giants. No, they're actually at the A's.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So where you can have these major flagship institutions that can support the ecosystem.
By the way, I do not approve of Brett using the Oakland A's as a so-called other. That no. Still the major leagues. Let's make sure that we got that part.
But they're not the Giants.
Now y'all listening to this bull. Okay, now if we want to start this Bay Area war, we can get it cracking because nobody beats the doctor at that. We can get it cracking.
His mama named him Clay. Anyways.
So real quick.
So
what y'all are talking about though, it just reminded me. Have you heard that announcement that they're about to fire up a brand new style of MMA with the team battles?
No.
They're going to have a draft.
That's real?
It's going to be city to city.
I'm not discussing rumors. I'm finishing this fight
No,
right
it's
now.
happening.
I'm not discussing rumors. I've warned you about that before. Now,
Okay, let's go with some picks.
So, who do you think is going to win? Now, what are the strengths of Claudia?
Grappling.
Chin.
I think they're both grappling, right?
Better jiu-jitsu.
Chin. She's tough as
Great
she's tough as
striking.
nails.
Carla, better wrestling, better ground and pound.
And better cardio.
But the question I can't figure out
Isn't
is
Carla a better
Carla's
striker?
striking as a boxer better than Claudia's kickboxing?
I think
No.
Carla's
The answer to that
striking
No.
question
better.
is no.
I think
Not at all.
However, here is the issue.
Yeah.
The issue with this is because they are both really technically really based in grappling.
Yes.
Where my concern is that Claudia Gadelha has progressed so well as a striker that sometimes she pulls away from the jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
And as I will always say, in terms of this division at 115 pounds, there is no better ground and pound artist than Carla Esparza.
Right.
There is no better ground.
No.
So
Yeah,
if Carla
I agree.
gets Gadelha on her back,
Which she
we
can.
got a problem.
I would
Which she
agree
can.
100%. And I'd also say that
can.
Claudia's jiu-jitsu in the past, especially against Joanna, was ineffectual.
Yep.
And that was because Joanna didn't play the game.
So
if Carla will play the game,
if it
because
stays on
she's so confident in her ability to ground and pound. And as you already know, when you go to their place, you punch them in the face.
If it stays standing, I give it to Claudia. If it goes to the ground, I give it to Carla. If we play the odds of what's the chance of it going to the ground, I think this is Carla by unfortunate stoppage in the third round.
I am going to take Carla by decision. I believe that she is going to use Claudia Gadelha's gas tank against her.
Got it. Okay.
Thank you. Yep. I was
Agree.
thinking.
Yep.
Yeah, I was
Decision.
thinking
Got it.
Carla's just gonna play. She's gonna play it smart and wear Claudia out pretty much and just outpoint her. By
I got
decision.
Gadelha second round TKO. Am I the only one that thinks this looks like the elf versus the troll?
You're not invited back. You can't come to the cookout ever.
Right there, ladies and gentlemen, that is called going to hell in gasoline draws.
Carla.
It's really
Claudia,
just that simple.
I love you, girls. I love you.
Let's go to the next. I don't even want to, man.
That
I might
right
even
there
walk
is so
home. I don't even need a ride.
Seriously, man.
Oh,
seriously.
I've been waiting for this fight. Yes.
This is great. So this is really interesting. So first of all,
This is easy.
let me start off by saying this. Ari Emanuel, Dana White. To the black owners of the UFC,
Yes.
Serena, we see you, girl.
Serena and Venus, LL
Cam
Cool
Newton,
J.
we see you,
We
man.
see you. To Mr. Tyler, I loaned my studio to film a movie called Black Panther Perry. Why is the company you invest in paying a web artist, a webmaster, to do this? We've brought this up to you every time. For a small fee of
Good 15 million.
$15 million,
We'll take
you
it.
clearly see we can handle this for you. Let's start with this. If you look at the picture of Alistair Overeem, it hasn't been relevant for 12 years. He has not looked like that for 12 years. Am I
He
lying?
was still on the horse meter.
That's
now.
the horse
He was still
meter.
carrying around
That's
a
the horse
sledgehammer
meter
back
photo.
then.
Yep.
Secondly, the man's accent couldn't be more Dutch. And you have him listed as being from England,
He was born there.
Wow.
though. He was
even
born
though
in
he
England.
trains in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Yeah. I mean, he was born in New England. He was born in England. I'm sorry.
But he claims
Does he
Dutch.
fight out of England?
No.
He does Dutch kick. He's the epitome of Dutch kickboxing. You know.
I
what I'm
agree.
getting at.
I agree.
It's just,
I'm just
it's lazy.
saying that he was born there.
Xanax and doing your job doesn't mix. Fire whoever is doing that UFC website.
And please don't ever take Ambien.
Side note. Guess where she lives?
Where would that be, Sweet?
A little area called the Bay Area.
Oh, you're
know-
joking.
You know that open-minded place?
Oh, you know. I mean,
know.
yeah, I mean,
that,
you know.
That place where everybody's accepting.
Yeah,
one
or
place.
at least you would think.
You would hope.
Until they run up on a barbecue, talk about, yeah, here's a charcoal.
I can't believe
charcoal at the lake. I gotta call the police.
Can't believe they're putting
I
seasoning
own
salt.
this land. All of you blackguards, get out of here. How dare you?
Blackers.
There goes the KGO sponsorship. He said blackguards. Blackguards, like we ordered in some
that's a
food.
new-
Like we ordered some food. Oh, what do you want? Let me get the
What
greens,
is that?
some yams. Oh, let me get the blackguards. Yeah, I'm done.
Blackers, huh?
So we have Alistair the Demolition Man Overeem, which is kind of ironic. Have any of y'all remember that movie?
Yeah, the
Oh,
Demolition
Man. Remember in the future?
Of course.
Where Taco Bell was the greatest place to eat?
Hold up.
Yeah.
What is that smell?
Right.
I smell. I don't know exactly what this is. I don't know. It's kind of small though.
Alistair the Demolition Horse Meat Overeem versus Curtis Razor Blades.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Blades, let's talk about this real quick.
Yes.
Okay. I know you want to climb the ranks, and I was impressed with your last standing against Mark Hunt. Mm-hmm. You're not fighting
Not
Mark
me.
Hunt. You're not fighting Mark Hunt. You're not going to out. You think you're going to out wrestle this guy?
He can out wrestle Alistair
Yes, he
Overeem.
can.
Alistair Overeem is horrible with wrestling. Horrible with wrestling. Always has been.
Pay attention to the look on Mr. Sweet's face.
Always. Alistair Overeem is horrible, man. He's had to get starched in this one. Starch City, baby.
So you think
No Demolition Man for
you think
him
Curtis?
on this
You
one.
think Curtis has those hands to do that?
Yo, do you
Because when he
know
got touched twice by Mark Hunt, he was like, "Takedown City."
Alistair
Well, I
has-
mean,
He's not even going to attempt that this time.
Hands.
You know how fighters have that magic button on their chin where they go to sleep? Alistair has a huge magic button on
I-
his chin.
He said, in case of emergency,
Yeah.
touch here.
Touch this button.
Can I ask a
His button is
question?
Big as hell.
Can I ask a question since this is heavyweight? I don't know much about fighting or anything. Has Alistair Overeem ever fought a really heavy, good wrestler in the heavyweight division?
Bunch of them.
Yeah, there was one.
Really? What was his name?
His name, I think he is the WWE Universal Champion.
Right.
good.
The former champion Brock Lesnar who died in the ring.
However,
Who literally died in the
However,
octagon.
but
after
that
he
you
was-
have to put a caveat on that. We do. We're
We had-
talking about a guy who lost 100 pounds to diverticulitis.
Right. And he did kick him right in that belly to
Yeah.
really start.
Exactly.
Right in the surgery scar.
Okay. Right in the baby
you
maker.
can't-
And let us not forget, he went up against Stipe and got put to sleep.
Hey, he went up
Hey,
against Big
hey, he made him
Ben
tap. He
and
tapped.
got the softest little kick and fell asleep.
Stipe tapped.
Stipe tapped?
Stipe tapped.
No.
According to Horse Meat. No.
I saw it.
All right. Here's how this fight's going to go, according to me.
Okay.
If Curtis tries to play that tappy tap stuff with him, he's going to get knocked out
No,
very
he,
quickly.
he learned from the Mark Hunt fight. He's
I
like,
don't-
I'm not even playing. I'm going straight for the takedown
No.
I
day
can't
one.
believe if you
He don't
think-
learn.
No.
You don't look at that haircut. You cannot learn if you're still using the Tupac Bishop
Did
haircut.
this man just say, look at the haircut?
You can't rock that beard with that haircut.
He looked like bloated Harden.
He thinks he's Q from Juice.
Bloated.
Wow.
You guys are crazy.
Wow.
He looked like
This is what happens when you lose Game 7
Kwame
and you
without the
just
polka
go and
dots.
eat Ben and Jerry's for 3 straight weeks
He looked like he ate Big
and hot
Daddy Kane.
Cheetos.
Man.
Wrestler step to me. They want a brick, son.
Wow.
Curtis.
This man said the man looked like bloated Harden.
Hey, if Mark Hunt couldn't knock out Curtis Blades,
He didn't land though. He didn't land.
that's a
As soon as he jabbed him, it was takedown city. Now, I'm just saying, if he tries to trade hands with this man, he's going to die.
He's not going to do
If
that.
he doesn't,
He won't.
not gonna do
But
that,
I will say that Overeem has those knees that when he goes for the takedown,
yes. And also, let's remember, New Mexico versus Denver. Denver used to be part of New Mexico, so they may be able to pull their number a little bit. I'm just saying. I don't know which way it's going to go.
You know which way it's going to go.
It's very difficult. I like you, Curtis, a lot, but Alistair Overeem, he's part of the tribe. I can't walk away from a Jamaican.
Hey, even part of the tribe.
A Jamaican with a white mother. I mean, how can we go wrong? Bob Marley. I mean, what are you talking about here? Queens, thank you.
Alistair has consistently failed me since he first came to the UFC, and he hasn't shown me any different.
You mean like when he knocked out JDS?
that hurt my heart. That hurt my heart.
Okay, and with all of that being said, and with all that being said, this man is pressing a time machine to try to call this fight. Let's talk about the current Alistair Overeem, who may as well be Glass Joe.
Thank you, good doctor.
Okay? Bottom line is
Who has Curtis Blades knocked out?
Bottom line is this.
I don't know. Who is he knocked out?
Will come down to a few words. Glass Jaw versus USA Wrestling. Who wins?
USA. If it's a wrestling match, we obviously know that. But I'm just saying, who has Curtis Blades knocked out?
I don't think he's
Soon to be Alistair Overeem.
Aside from his barber, apparently. I mean,
he can't. But Alistair is food for him.
okay.
That's
So
food.
you're on Blades, Team Blades.
I'm going to take a smoke break during this fight because
Yeah.
I think Blades is.
It'll
just
be
going,
quick.
It'll be long and boring. 15 minutes of wrestle.
Oof. Okay. Fair. That's fair. So Blades by decision for you.
Yeah.
And you think
I'm taking Blades by KO, ground and pound.
There you go.
by
I
KO?
can see that.
Okay.
I
Interesting.
can see
All
that.
right. Well, thank you. We're going to take a commercial break. Pay some bills. I'm the SweetMBA. I am joined by,
MikeyMoTheMC.
as well as,
Brane Damage.
and of course,
The evil doctor, J.K. Akins.
everything here edited, mastered, recorded by DeShawn Davis and Regis for Dream Ear Eye and Play. We are also distributed by the Sly Show Network, and we are sponsored by Seawolf, where coconut flan is your friend. Gemini season. I'm turning a certain age, and I'm not going to say it out loud. We'll be back.
Too much.
This is Tyson Griffin.
Sean Bunch.
Myron the Hitman Smith.
Jordan the Juggernaut Powell.
Maurício Alonso. Shout out to Cage Against the Machine, MMA Podcast, MMA Fantasy League for you.
You Google him right now, because I'm about to Google him.
This fight.
And we are black.
And brown.
As hell.
Woo.
Chocolate, baby. Chocolate season.
No milk.
None.
Pure cacao.
Dark chocolate, baby.
Straight up. Straight out of the coca beans.
Oh.
Speaking of candy, our next fight to start off the main card is, a very celebrated professional wrestler
Oh, man.
who obviously belongs in the octagon. Give it up for Chicago's own Phil CM Punk. I've had 3 jiu-jitsu classes
Oh, my God.
versus Mike the Truth Jackson. Okay, what's the truth? First of all,
The truth
Mike,
is that this fight is Mickey Gall is my dad.
the truth is Mike Jackson's got a Biggie Smalls lazy eye, and we need to address it.
I see some ladies tonight that should be having my baby.
Baby. How you living, JK? If you're tired of your podcasters, come to Cage Against the Machine. All right, versus Mike Jackson. I mean, look at this picture right now. I mean, he looks like he's good. You keep this up, you're gonna date a Kardashian soon.
This looks like it's going to be a pillow fight.
He looks like Tyga's real lover. I mean,
gonna
this
be a pillow
guy
fight
is.
right here.
Shots fired.
He's the truth. His name is the truth. I'm speaking truth. I'm not judging anyone. I'm just speaking truth.
Yikes.
I don't know anything about this guy. And what's amazing is their record is identical.
Yeah.
And yet it looks like code.
No, you don't understand how identical it is.
Binary.
Binary code. Like literally, I don't even know if he believes. Like maybe when they were making UFC 3 and they're like, CM Punk's gonna be a character, they're like, what's the template we're gonna use? Copy, make dark skin, add tattoos, Mike Jackson.
Right. So they're both 0-1, and that both of them, that loss is Mickey Gall. That's why I said this fight is Mickey Gall's my dad.
Mickey Gall.
And he just
I would have used an expletive.
And he just lost too.
We don't do that here.
Apparently, Mike Jackson has no legs.
Yeah, he has no reach.
He has no reach and no arms and no legs.
He has no arms
back
and
to
legs.
kids again. I have no legs.
I have no legs.
I have no legs.
Hey, he has no legs, but he lands 4 strikes per minute.
Again, with
Per
the
minute.
the
CM Punk
webcasting.
lands 0 strikes per minute.
Come on, Dana.
I wonder why
Come on,
that
Dana.
happened.
0.
I see
Zero.
a repeat
But-
of what happened in.
But
the
he's going to
last
come
time.
off the top rope.
Oh, so you think Mike? You think? I think they want CM Punk to win this one.
Of course they
But
do.
I just think he's so soft that even though they're spoon feeding
Yes.
this one to him,
It's
he's
not a spoon.
still
Hold
gonna
up,
get
hold up.
kicked.
First of all, it's not a spoon feeding because neither one of these jokers belong in the UFC. This is the kind of stuff that pisses me off.
yeah, for real.
As a mixed martial arts
Yes,
fan and a
I
mixed
agree.
martial arts analyst, this is the kind of stuff
And-
that pisses me off.
And as a mixed martial artist,
I mean, seriously.
I should be
Yeah.
fighting CM Punk.
I mean, seriously. Seriously.
Why?
Seriously.
Dana, make it happen. Sign a contract. Also, you know what? It's my birthday month. I'm feeling good. I would like to fight.
Should. It's your birthday.
I would like to fight all these rappers who keep taking Instagram photos about them working out at the UFC gym.
We gon' party like it's your birthday.
I'm going to start with Wiz Khalifa, and then
We
I also
gon' sit Bacardi like it's your birthday.
I saw Snoop and his idea of hands. He clearly is a shooter. He's clearly a shooter.
we know Snoop.
That's clearly a shooter. If I get in a gun battle with Snoop, he's gonna win. How are you gonna be 6'1" and have no reach?
He's
Wow. Annie, I'll fight you, CM Punk. All right, do the Chris Lieben. I'll fight you. Sure, cost check. I'll fight you.
I'll fight you.
I'll fight you anywhere. Wow. Who's gonna win? The bank account's gonna win.
Yeah.
Now,
Now that's funny because
It is-
I was gonna say the same thing.
it is to Jay Gay's point, as a lifetime martial artist, this is insulting to me. But also, we are in 2018 where everybody's allowed. Like, everybody thinks that, tangent. Everybody thinks they're allowed to rap. Everybody thinks they're allowed, right?
Yeah, straight up.
Shout out to Mikey Mo and his new video,
Yes, sir.
880 South,
Doing work,
doing it
baby.
for the people.
Viral.
Now, when we grew up rapping and you came into something called the Cypher, which means in a circle,
Yeah.
you couldn't just like, hey, can I get a bronze place trophy?
No.
No, you had to push your
Go
way
hard or
in.
go home.
You had to knock somebody out verbally to be in there.
Exactly.
It was, you couldn't just make beats. You could just produce. You think these great sounds we have right now came out of nowhere? DeShawn and Regis had to work their craft
Yes.
for years, right? So there is a certain part of that I do feel disrespected. But at the same time, I want to be fair. I want to walk away from this notion that Phil CM Punk is soft in the sense that his training in the WWE,
That's about as brutal as it gets.
bruh, as a stunt, if we could think about him as a stunt choreographer,
That's about as brutal as it gets.
who works 300 out of 365 days a year, and that might even be generous. I think they work 320.
Yeah, those boys work hard.
Those ropes are terribly hard on the back.
Right.
They take all their bumps,
Yeah.
and we know. And I'm showing my wrestling markdom. This dude has done main events for 25 minutes with the flu and pneumonia.
Yeah.
So he's tough.
He's a good entertainer.
He just has not climbed the ranks to be here.
Let's
He's not a
forget
good
about.
fighter. He's
let's
not a
forget
fighter.
about climbing the ranks. He hasn't put in the work.
He's not a fighter. Exactly.
He hasn't put in the work. Like,
Yes.
and Brett, I mean, Sweet, you already know. You already know me.
He already said my government name. Gotta go. Gotta go. You'll never catch me, Copper.
You already know me. Could you imagine this guy in the clinch with me? What would happen? I would toss this cat like a rag doll.
It would smell like African aftershave.
I mean, straight up. It would be hip tosses, inside trips galore. I mean, it would be side control,
head and arm throws. Just because I don't like you, right?
Man, and elbows to the face to boot after the head and arm throw.
Old and bows.
Get low.
It's just insulting. It's insulting.
You know what it is?
But now that you bring it up, look at Mike Jackson's face right now. He's like, why am I here?
Yeah, he's like, huh?
But I know what it was. It's like, look. Dana came in like Captain Save Him. Like,
I wanna be saved.
Your mama got bills? I'm gonna pay them bills.
We're gonna call this fight an active interlude.
This right here is absolutely taco time. If you were confused about anything right now,
make that fool get out there and work.
You don't actually have to watch this fight, fans. You don't. Like, in fact, there's something called analytics, and they know how many people. Like, if you wanted to change the channel until the fight was over, that's okay. That sends a message. There's no reason for this.
And since it's the first fight on the pay-per-view, you can buy the pay-per-view 15 minutes late.
Now, you know what's disappointing? There was a great moment because it got holograms. If this had been CM Punk versus, instead of Mike Jackson, Michael Jackson.
And the Michael Jackson hologram would still beat CM Punk.
I keep a mirror in my pocket and I practice looking hard.
Mirror,
Michael Jackson hologram will beat CM Punk.
Knock him out and be like, honey, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie?
Are you okay, CM?
You've been hit by
CM, are you okay? Are you okay, CM?
Joe Rogan comes out, wow, that was an amazing finish. How did you train for this? That's why I'm starting with me.
It's just another part of me.
Shimon.
What a miss. I mean, hell, since we're on the subject, swap out Mike Jackson. Could have brought in Phil Jackson.
Old Phil will beat CM Punk.
Triangle defense.
He's won in Chicago before.
The Zen Master.
Oh, he went there. He went there.
At this point, LaToya Jackson would win.
Hey, straight up.
Wow.
Janet Jackson.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, I mean, it is funny how time flies when you're having fun.
Tito Jackson.
Tito, stop teasing. Tito.
Bring in Your Majesty.
Oh, Blanket Jackson would win at this point. All right, man, I'm done.
Hanging from a ledge at that.
I am done. Move on, man.
This fight.
Okay, I see you paid the bills, Dana. Good job. Move on, dude.
Yeah, get that one out of here.
At least put him on the Contender Series. You know, like have some respect for us. All right, we're moving on.
The early prelims.
This is a prelim to
this
Polynesian Invasion. This is a swan song.
Yeah, this
Okay,
is.
I'm gonna make a prediction. Somebody's gonna do really good, and somebody's gonna do really bad.
Really bad.
Yep.
Come to the end of the road. Still I can't let go. It's a natural.
Boys to podcasters.
Baby, I knew you cheated.
When you took all them testosterones.
I knew about that other guy.
But that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter, baby.
You really don't understand how much I love you, do you?
You called it a protein shake.
I'm gonna make men suffer from this song for the next 30 years. We putting up with this BS. Some people might even play this at their wedding.
Down in the stand. Oh, I'm sorry, Andre, man.
We
I'm sorry we're having
belong
so much
together.
fun with you.
I can't remember who said it, but are you quite done, sir? you know.
Oh man.
Y'all
And
fools
to you,
is ignorant.
and to you Cage cousins out there, are you not entertained?
Oh man.
Oh, you're killing me. Oh. If we just had, maybe we could even, if you inserted Regis, the three of y'all could be boys to men for the Halloween.
Oh man.
We belong together. DeShawn could be your producer, Big Bivens. Okay, we have Andre the Pitbull Orlovsky
Man.
versus,
Wow.
The future of the heavyweight
I'm gonna let
division.
Brane, as our resident Polynesian, say this name.
Thai Bam Bam Tuivasa.
A Belarus versus Australia. Belarus is famous. Why? Because yes, it is an Eastern European country, but it gives us such famous individuals as their championship Sancho team and Gary Vaynerchuk.
And Count Dracula.
No, that's Transylvania. But yeah, I know.
Never mind.
You're
I
like
thought
your mama
that
named
was
her Clay. Of course. Leave it to Mikey Mo to bring in the older. What the name? What the boy name?
I should have just countered with Scott Bakula.
Yeah, Alaska. That's what I said. Andre. I invited Andre to the pit. Okay. Wait, what country is that? I know. I was stationed over there. No. Versus, if you haven't seen Bam Bam before, and I can't understand why you haven't seen Bam Bam, he is the protege of Mark Hunt. He trains with Tyson Pedro, which is a phenomenal name in itself.
Yes.
I mean, off top. But he is part of a culture that I'm really amazed to see. This Australian, New Zealand, Polynesian, their revolution and birth into MMA that has just taken over the sport in the last 2 years, that is changing the game. This is very simple. Andre Arlovsky is going to die in the first round.
Probably so. Probably
Let's
so.
pretend that he was years younger and he had a chin still.
And he would still die.
He would still die. But he's been champion. He's been knocked out. He's had a lot of trouble. This is a bad fight. Who told him to take this fight? That's who should be in the ring with him.
Yeah. I mean, who else really is there for him to fight?
The thing is, they love putting good strikers and testing them with that wrestling, and Orlovsky's been using that Greg Jackson wrestling his last couple of fights.
Yes.
So he's going to try to get this fight to the ground as soon as possible.
And it's going to be a
And we're going to see what kind of takedown defense that Bam Bam has.
And it makes no sense because Bam Bam trains with Tyson Pedro, and Tyson Pedro trains with Jackson Wink.
Oh, does he now?
He does.
He does.
Did not know
Makes no
that.
sense.
Yeah.
There's
You
nothing
fed him.
Andre could do.
There's nothing. You
There's
are done.
nothing he could do. Yeah, this is it. This
And
is the end of the road.
we seen in his last fight, Ty, was tested not so much with the wrestling, but with the grappling, and he was getting frustrated, and it took to the third round, and he still had that knockout power.
Yeah.
So it could take up until 14 minutes and 52 seconds.
And I have a theory.
and all he needs to land is one.
And I have a theory on that. I'm gonna explain that to you in a minute, but we'll come back to it. Remind me to bring that back. So I think we're all unanimous on this.
Yeah.
Ty is gonna win.
Bum.
We're done.
I just got to say this one thing.
Yeah.
First of all, anybody who is tatted more than Mikey Mo and I combined, I am picking that guy, especially because he was tatted the old school way.
Yeah.
I'm taking that guy.
The old school traditional way with the ting 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 ting.
I'm taking that guy. I'm sorry. And I got a big giant mural on my back.
Well, that ended better than I thought.
And anybody who gets a tattoo in that, I'm taking that cat all day long.
If I win the lottery, I'm going to get a tattoo of Mikey Mo and JK on my back.
And it's gonna look like Steve-O.
Yeah, with their tattoos.
Hey, hold up. There is nothing about me that looks like Steve-O. Let's make sure we get that right. Okay?
But apparently to young kids, I sound like him.
Yeah.
Moving on to
I've
our
heard that before.
Moving on to our next fight.
Away from this murder.
Let's talk about peace.
Uh-oh.
It's time. It is time for the Holly Holm. The Holly Holm camp to make peace with Cage Against the Machine.
We belong together.
It is time
There it
to make
goes.
peace.
Holly Holm.
We have never, or on behalf of the good Dr. JK, has never said anything that wasn't true and didn't happen.
He never
We have
said
never
that
said
wasn't
anything disrespectful.
Never disrespectful.
It's time to come together. This nation needs to heal and get over our divisions. We reach our hand to you in friendship, Holly Holm. You're still an incredible fighter. Regardless of what we say in the past or in the future about you, I predicted you would win many of these fights and disagreed. But you got to get over it and extend your hand back in friendship. But before we get there, let's talk about this fight you're about to have. Holly Holm, the preacher's daughter. What can you say about this situation? Is there a better woman boxer
Yeah.
in boxing or MMA?
Yes.
No. Absolutely.
Woman boxer.
Not in boxing.
Better than Holly Holm?
Not in boxing.
Better than Holly Holm. I'm going to need y'all to rethink that. I'm gonna need y'all to rethink that.
and Cyborg have better hands than Holly.
He's allowed an opinion. I did that on purpose.
Now Holly is, she's a boxer.
I'm gonna try again.
More power, but
I'm gonna try
not,
again.
not
Amanda,
technique.
Amanda's a better boxer, not kickboxer. You're saying Amanda Nunes is a better boxer.
Hands?
If we put Amanda Nunes in a boxing ring against Holly Holm,
She'll knock Holly. I promise
opinions, he's allowed it. Wait,
I
is there a better
promise you.
Brain? Is there a better boxer in women's boxing than Holly Holm?
I'm sure there is. I don't.
Okay, look.
I even go with Layla Ali.
I'm just gonna say this. I know California made it legal, but whatever y'all are smoking, it's too strong for me because it's losing sense.
And there, ladies and gentlemen, proves that California really does know how to party.
But you think you put her in the boxing ring with the best women boxers and she outboxes them?
Yeah, she did. She did. Look at her record. She has the belt.
She was not with the best.
No, I can't agree. Now, I don't agree with that. But I'm just saying that Chris Cyborg, if you put her up
together.
and they just shot the hands with her and Holly, it'd be a wrap.
I just got one question to both of y'all, and it's real simple. And I'm sure that both of you will get it. Who shot you?
Nobody shot me, man. I'm just telling you what it is, man. I'm a Holly Holm fan, but she's lost it. We don't know which Holly is going to even come to this fight.
Okay.
Honestly.
That is a great point, but I just want to say.
Yeah, the only
Before we
fight
start
she
this-
showed her savageness was against Ronda.
Yeah. And she hasn't even showed gas after that.
So we're just going to disregard her boxing record.
No,
I'm not disregarding
her
it. No.
boxing record.
I'm just saying.
No.
I'm just saying.
But
in
wait, that's
the boxing
exactly
ring.
what you guys just
Said.
said.
You said the only time.
What are you
I said
talking
there's
about?
No,
I said
you
she's
said
not the
name a
best
better
ever.
boxer.
Okay.
I named 2 better boxers.
Okay.
I'm not taking credit away from her.
May I ask another question?
I can't remember the woman's name, but there was a great women's boxing match a couple of weeks ago on the undercard of the Triple G fight. I think either one of those.
Can I ask another question?
That woman champion that they're trying to make fight Cyborg, I think.
Right. I can't remember her name. I apologize.
Can I ask another question? What kind of hybrid type of greenery are you two smoking?
Indica dominant.
That good Cali green.
Indica dominant.
Okay, we clearly don't agree on this, but I will just say this. The strengths we agree on are Holly Holm has incredible striking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with
Right.
that.
Now,
Right.
who is she facing? For many years, we've heard this rumor of this woman coming up the ranks from Invicta
Victor.
Yeah.
by the name of Megan Anderson. And why the story is amazing is she has been in MMA relatively short. She was actually a fairly larger version of herself who used MMA to transform her body, which I'm always going to root for that person, and found out that she was actually really, really good at it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And people have been saying for years, 3 years, 2 years, Megan Anderson, when she arrives at the UFC, will be the person to take out Cyborg.
Right.
They say these things. There's other things that people say.
Yeah.
There's other things that people say. Okay.
I agree.
So now we are at the test. This will be the first UFC fight for one Megan Anderson coming from Australia.
Right.
She will face, if she was ever to be successful in her weight class or the weight class above, certainly this is the person to beat.
Definitely.
The undisputed gatekeeper. If there was an interim belt for the women's,
A gatekeeper belt.
for the strawweight and, not for strawweight, for the bantamweight and for featherweight,
Featherweight.
Holly Holm would own it. She'd be a 2-division champ, right?
Possibly.
Right?
Possibly.
Well, but she lost to Jermaine Durand to me.
Yeah.
Did she?
Did she?
I was a fan of Jermaine, but did she?
Look at the record.
Did she really? Did she?
That was just a horrible.
Or was she fighting? Or was she fighting Tristan Thompson? Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Sleep deprived Killmonger.
I mean, come on. I mean,
So-
look, this,
but
and,
is
and on a
this-
scorecard, did you see the scorecards against her, Holly Holm against Cyborg?
I did not.
It's very close.
That fight was very,
It's very close. It's not a huge margin. It's a very close.
It is a close one.
It was
But was there anybody else that felt like Cyborg was holding back a little bit her last couple fights?
But that's not how.
Come on, man.
Whatever.
If you
She
can
trained-
never try
she
to
didn't-
dive into the psyche of a fighter.
She didn't
That
hold
is
back.
dangerous.
Here's what I'll say. She didn't hold back. She changed her style. When she first got in the game, she came from shoot a box. So she might as well be the female version of Vanderlei, right?
Which is exactly what she
That's
is.
what I thought she was for a long time.
Then she switched over and she trains with the same trainer.
But have you ever seen them both at the same place at the same time?
I have. I have. It's called Instagram. Now,
But he had to scroll 3 pictures to
now,
get
I've
there.
seen it. Now, see, I don't do those.
See,
I don't do those.
see.
I got love for Cyborg.
I do too. I'm a big Cyborg fan.
Now, here's the issue.
clowning, but-
Here's the issue. Cyborg switched
Still
over
two-piece me.
to training under Jason Perillo
That's right. At Evolve MMA.
at Evolve Ruka, right? Who is the coach currently of BJ Penn, but also
Long time.
Bisping. He's the one who changed Bisping's boxing.
Also, Rafael Dos Anjos.
So you see that, and you notice those combos you just saw with Rafael? That same kind of calculated striking. So that's why she's not holding back. She's recognizing a certain tap rhythm.
Yeah.
Right?
She's not going brawl no more.
Yeah,
she's
she's
going
Well,
not-
and a lot of that
technique.
has to do with the fact that Cristiano Justino is a extremely large woman. So you have to find a way to scale back at some point in order to preserve your gas tank.
Is that why
Yeah.
she started going with the 12-week camps instead of 8-week
Yes.
camps?
Yes.
And then on top of which, again, you're melding arts, right? So the range of boxing and the stance of boxing is not the same as Muay Thai.
Definitely not.
One of the critiques of Muay Thai is their hooks, right? They shorten power, and they're predictable, which is what is what Diaz was saying to Silva, right?
Yeah.
And boxing, it makes you very vulnerable because the range is close, right? So if you duck under wrong, you're going to catch a knee, but the power's there from those hooks. So I think what she traded off was accuracy.
I agree with that.
She focused on her accuracy and her power. That's why when you saw her against what's her name, the wrestler from Texas.
That was Tanya Eving.
Tanya, remember in the second round, Tanya just had those looks like she was getting caught. She was just like, "Oh, nobody punches me like that before."
Yeah.
That's what was happening. Rather than let me throw
And Evans was in that fight because Megan was supposed to fight and dropped out.
Rather
right?
than throw 10 punches, miss 8 of them, and hit you twice with light. Every time Justino throws, she lands, and it's gonna hurt. She punches through the head. So it's just a difference of style. That being said, Megan Anderson versus Holly Holm. This could really open up the division again. We're super excited about women fighters. We've been waiting for this for a long time. My fear is that Megan Anderson is the hype train. Every Invicta champion that's been delivered has failed.
Yeah, why not build her up and give her more,
However, let me just stop everybody there. Megan Anderson is a different beast for a couple of reasons. Reason number one, how many 6-foot fighters with 74-inch reach are in the UFC with women?
Yeah.
That is number one. Number two, I call her, she does not have a nickname, but I have always called her the Grave Digger.
Oh, wow. Okay.
For a reason. Because if she connects, especially because with that 73, 74-inch reach, if she connects to your face at the edge of that punch, it could be curtains. And I have seen her put bodies through the canvas.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong, Holly's most dangerous technique, aside from her boxing, is her switch kick.
Yes.
She sets you up, waits for you to fade out, and she gets you.
She is a master. And this is the part where the problem is. Holly Holm is a master at controlling distance. Yep. But how do you control distance with a woman who is 6 feet tall?
Yeah.
She's got that experience to figure it out, though.
Six, but not in a mixed martial arts fight.
Also, if Megan chops that leg, because of her stance, she leaves out. She chops that leg 3 times. She's not going to use that switch kick. She's got to be able to move. She's going to switch to southpaw. She's not going to be able to get it out.
And Holly's heavy on that leg.
And also, Megan has got that Taekwondo-esque front side kick that she can use like a jab, but she's got the power of a cross with it.
And because of that range, and as a Taekwondo, because of that range, if she catches you with the ball of the foot.
Is that her Lucille?
Yeah.
Megan and Negan?
The side kick, but also if she puts a spin to it, like Shevchenko, cuts you in half in the stomach.
So who are you picking?
This is
this is hard. And that's why
the fan in me wants a draw so he can do this a bunch of times. I've been waiting for this for a while, so I can't believe. I feel like this balances out the CM Punk, and the Randy Jackson fight.
I agree with that.
Such a carry.
But this is
that's gonna be a no for me, dog.
And here's where one of my major issues is with this particular fight. As somebody who has had to fight taller fighters, one of the things that you have to do against a taller fighter is get in close and get in clinch to nullify the range. However, that is not what Holly Holm does. Yeah, and that is what concerns me in this fight.
Yes, I'm definitely concerned with Holly fighting a taller, longer fighter than herself.
And by the way, here's this for some information. Last 5 fights, Holly Holm is 1-4. And that is since the defeat of Ronda Rousey for the bantamweight title.
Also, while Holly Holm...
Since or is that one
that is since.
And while Holly Holm has an incredible chin, she also seems to have a weakness with submissions. Despite her spending all this time in jiu-jitsu.
So riddle me this. Does the winner get Cyborg? Or is Cyborg going to that Nunes fight?
I think
who else is left, right?
I think
Nunes
that if Anderson wins, you will see that fight.
Yeah.
But if Holly Holm wins, then they don't run it back so soon.
Well, probably not. I wouldn't foresee that. However, there have been some strange things happening since Sean Shelby has entered the UFC, so you never know.
So, earlier with Mirsad Bektik, you said the young and inexperienced fighter against the tough and very experienced fighter, and the experience is going to hold out. Do you feel this is true with Holly Holm again? Or you
Holly Holm is not really that much more experienced than Megan Anderson.
But Megan Anderson,
Anderson, while that may be true, Here's the issue. Holly Holmes got 1 foot in the grave when it comes to her career.
Yeah.
She is 37 years old.
And the UFC doesn't like her.
Ooh, well, I can't speak
Or
to
not
that.
her, but
I can't speak to that relationship.
Yeah, and they don't like her circle, rather.
It's time to make peace.
But you will lose.
I'm going to think.
I can't get it to her.
I think that Holly Holm will pull this out by decision.
I hope you're right.
It's gonna be close, but I think she's gonna pull it out.
But that's the problem.
She's gonna look broken at the end of it, though.
My issue is because Holly Holm, that is a master at controlling distance. And now you're talking about a woman who stands 6 feet tall with that type of range. I am concerned because it doesn't bode well for her style of fighting.
Exactly.
And that is the part that concerns me.
So if I hear you right, you think Megan.
We don't want to say. I'm with you, Doctor. We don't want to say Megan, but
I don't want to take Megan Anderson.
Yeah, exactly.
Decision.
I don't want to take Megan Anderson.
Chokeout. What are you saying?
I picked her by decision, but I wouldn't be surprised if Megan Anderson catches Holly Holm on the end of one of those kicks or punches.
Got it.
Yeah,
All I'm saying is
TKO second round.
All I'm saying
Yes,
is,
thank
if you
you.
give Holly a haircut and grow a beard, then Negan bashes Abraham's head in again.
It's time to make peace. Okay. Do you have a final decision?
Lucille.
Okay. Megan Anderson by what?
Second round knockout.
Got
No, fourth round. Sorry.
Got it.
Sorry about that.
Fourth round.
Oh no, this is 3-round.
This is a 3-round fight.
Oh.
3-round fight.
Yeah. It's not a title.
Yeah.
Guess it's going to decision then.
Right. So Megan by decision.
Well,
Nah, I'll go third round though.
well, if that wasn't a Rubik's Cube for a prediction.
Moving on to our next fight, which is the co-main event of the evening. Oh yeah. Let's start off with a little bit of peppering of controversy. This fight shouldn't be happening.
Oh, but boy, do I have a story to tell you guys.
I'm sure. But this fight should not be happening.
Is it going to
Why?
be on here or we
Respectfully.
got to wait till after?
Tell us why.
Oh no,
RDA has had one fight in welterweight.
that's 3 now.
He's a proven champion, though, man.
He had
3
Robbie
now.
Lawler.
Neil Magny.
Okay, he did have Neil.
One other. I can't remember right now.
Now,
Mr.
Neil-
Davis,
Neil-
Davis, would you mind bringing up the fight history of Rafael Dos Anjos?
Neil Magny is now in the top 10. Was he a top 10 when he fought him?
Yes.
He was
Yes.
on a tear when he fought
Okay,
him.
fair.
I think
right.
Magny was on like a 6 or 7 fight win streak when he fought him, yeah?
Got it.
Something like that, yes.
Okay, so let's keep going. Keep going, Mr.
Please.
Davis.
There it is, Tariq Safady. There it is. That's the third 170 fight. There it is.
Okay,
Leg kicks.
all in the same year. Fair. Okay, so I take that back. RDA should be here.
Thank you, sir.
Colby is here
Colby talked his way into
because
this.
he talks his way, and you have to sell the fight.
Yeah.
But that's what's great. So you want to be Chael Sonnen in part 2. Well, we see how that turns out.
Ooh.
So
Oh, he had to,
Ooh.
I'm sad that this fight did not happen in Brazil.
Now, can I tell a little story about the conference call that I was on?
Hold on. Here's a little story I got to tell. Okay.
Let's go on again
So
and again.
on the conference call, Rafael Dos Anjos called Kobe Covington a fake American version of Conor McGregor.
nice.
I didn't understand those last 2 words you said.
Yeah. I'm quoting here.
I just something happened.
I'm quoting.
Of
Of course, it's
I'm getting
Voldemort.
older.
It's Voldemort.
Oh, I know that word. That
Voldemort.
Irish guy.
He
right.
said,
Yeah.
"Caca make poo poo." That's what he said.
Bodman.
And I thought that was interesting because
He'll do nothing.
Rafael Dos Anjos, as we know, we followed him throughout his career. He's not one for trash talking.
No.
But there is something about Kobe Covington that gets Rafael Dos Anjos' hide.
Well, that's what he's counting on.
So do you think the mind games will have an effect on this fight?
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
2-piece.
Kobe's food.
I mean, if he lights up those here's why this is an interesting thing, because Kobe is a wrestler who learned how to strike freely.
Kobe's an hors d'oeuvre.
And he's coming out of
Could
the
we say
American
the same
top team.
thing about Dos Anjos and his jiu-jitsu, though?
You could.
Well,
you could.
But here's
Absolutely.
the difference. Dos Anjos, here's the interesting thing. Dos
Dos
Anjos
Anjos.
is a jiu-jitsu guy who, through the King's MMA system, has learned what they're really good at doing is teaching people jiu-jitsu to where it's almost like Greco-Roman wrestling. And you saw that through most of his career.
I can see that.
And then, of course, you got the Rafael Cordero, amazing striking.
Mm-hmm.
But then you add in the Perillo boxing. It's a total package. I mean, I don't think anybody in here, even if we liked Kobe, thinks he has a chance.
Yeah, for real.
Not a snowball's chance.
But it's going to be a very exciting first round.
Agreed.
It's going to be a fun first round. There's going to be a lot of great. What's great about this fight is if you were sitting somebody at the table with you, and you're saying, they're like, why should I watch mixed martial arts? This first round is a good example.
Hold up. I just remembered this is an interim title fight, is it not?
It is.
Yeah,
This is for the right to fight Tyron Woodley.
Yeah.
Right to lose.
I
to Tyron
completely
Woodley.
forgot
Yeah,
about
'cause either
that. So
one
this
of
is
them
a
is-
5-rounder.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
Tyron
is.
will
But
kill
it's
him.
but it's going to end in the beginning of the second.
Here is the complication with this fight. And I'm talking about for Kobe Covington in particular. His style of fighting feeds into what Dos Anjos does well.
Yep.
So you're talking about a wrestler who is fighting a guy who is a counter striker who is extremely competent off of his back.
Yes.
Everything that Kobe Covington does, Rafael Dos Anjos, it feeds into what Dos Anjos does. That's why I'm finding a hard time. It's a hard time for me to try to figure out how Kobe Covington wins this fight.
And also, Dos Anjos has gotten to a point where he knows how to chain together like 11 strikes.
Exactly.
See, that
Exactly.
was a technical analysis of why I called Kobe an hors d'oeuvre, pretty much.
Okay. Well,
So-
there you go.
So
Yeah,
I
because
got
his
one
style
more
feeds
question
right
for y'all.
into
I got one more
Dos
question for y'all.
Anjos.
Finger food.
I don't
Yeah.
think Woodley's been out long enough to really have an interim
He
title.
won't be back
Are
until
we-
the end of this year.
But should we just start calling the interim title for
The
each
number one
division?
contender?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
the Intercontinental
Well, that's
Champion,
basically
right?
what it is.
That's-
Each
I don't
division
like the
should
fake
have
belts.
Yeah.
because when
They're
you go
fake.
to the rankings, the number one contender doesn't always get to fight for the belt.
And then I think a
It's
better
the interim title is what really cements your place as I'm next.
right, and I think the better analogy would be like winning the pendant, right?
Oh, winning the pennant?
Just because you win that, you still have to go to the World Series.
still have
and
to go
prove
to
it,
Giants
Yeah,
win the
exactly.
pennant. The
right?
Giants win the
So I think
pennant.
that's what it's like. Or you're winning the
I just want to
playoffs.
set them off.
But the point being, yeah, to me, this is a knockout in the second round. Dos Anjos will become the interim champion, but I suspect they'll feed another fight before.
Woodley.
Yeah, and also because I think there's going to be another complication is that I believe that they're going to change the belt soon, and that there will be a 165 and a 175 division.
Ooh.
So which one do you think Woodley's going to take?
I think they give him 175 because I think welterweight categorically has the hardest amount of people missing weight. If we do an
Right, you're
analysis,
Yeah.
And that's a big jump between.
oh my God,
welterweight to
155 to
15 pounds.
185.
There's nothing but big jumps. We're talking about, right? We're going from 155 to 170, from
15.
170 to
185.
185,
Yeah.
from 185 to 205.
Yeah.
From
Big
20
jumps.
well, anything over 207 pounds is a
Right.
heavyweight.
Yeah.
So
But,
I think that's
but most
what's-
guys are coming in somewhere. 235 is like the least that they're coming in.
Yeah.
Right.
So would you do if they do the 155, 165, 75, 85, 95, 205? Do you think they could put in
a super heavyweight
a
division?
super heavyweight?
I think they
Maybe
definitely should.
Put heavyweight from
think-
207 to 235,
I think that's
or
where-
235 and above.
I think that's when Ngannou-
I think that while in theory sounds good, I think that would be
Boring.
way too problematic. It'd be way too problematic
I
because
think so.
one of the things that makes heavyweight special is the possibility of a guy like Daniel Cormier fighting Stipe Miocic.
Yeah. But that's a dream fight, though, that we just all got lucky as human beings.
Man, don't jinx it. Don't talk about it. Don't talk. Shut up. Shut up. Make your prediction.
Yep.
Shut up. Don't ruin it. Don't take my thing.
I don't want to. Yeah.
I want my fun.
I don't want
Shut up.
something bad to happen.
I'm not going to go second round because I
Fight
think
Week, ladies and gentlemen.
I think as the good doctor said, Kobe is under Dos Anjos' skin, and I don't think Dos Anjos is going to let him off the hook that easy. I think if he knocks him down, he's going to say, "Get back up, you little punk. I'm going to knock you down again." And I think he drags us out to the late third, early
That's how you
fourth.
lose fights.
I see a first round submission
Okay? First round submission for
Dos Anjos.
Got it.
For the
Okay.
win. Yeah.
I
third
think
round. Got it.
I think Dos Anjos puts Colby Covington down with a counter strike
In what round?
and finishes him off early.
First round?
Early.
Got it. I think we're in the same mindset.
I think he's trying to punish him.
Punishing him, you don't play fighting.
That
I
doesn't
guess-
bode well.
You don't play
And-
fighting.
and
You don't
that
play
is
fighting.
something that Sweet and I, we've talked about extensively.
Government.
One of the things that you don't do
You don't play
is
fighting.
play fighting.
Yep.
We don't do that.
You can
No.
learn.
And honestly,
you learn lessons from your martial arts teacher. You don't learn
Yeah,
it from
you-
the
to
you
your
don't-
point, with a
yeah.
guy like an
Yeah.
ego like Covington, knocking him out early is punishing him. So I agree.
Yeah, if
I
you
agree.
finish him,
Point taken.
if you finish him, he can't come back. He can't say, "Oh, it was a close fight. Put me back in."
Well,
You got to finish him.
Exactly.
And then
And
talk
finish him
it.
fast.
Then talk it. Then grab the mic. What you got to say now? That's it.
Exactly.
You got to have him still laid out, like breathing hard.
And because of the type of person that Rafael Dos Anjos is, we know he's not gonna say, "There you go, son. You thought you were on my level,
Right,
but you're
right.
not." He's not that type of guy. Although in this particular case, I certainly wish he was.
And keep it in mind that Kobe Covington is not this person when the camera's
And
off.
then on top of that,
This is a character he
Can
plays.
I just see that? Can I
I don't
just
like,
say
so
this
is that
part?
why he compared it to McNuggets?
I don't know. When I look at Kobe Covington and I actually hear this dude speak, I just imagine him being from Broland, California.
He's just look.
Where is he from?
I don't know.
He's from wherever they grow lifeguards. We're gonna take a commercial break. I am SweetMBA. I am joined by,
The evil doctor, J.K. Akins.
as well as,
Brane.
and
MikeyMoTheMC.
who might be a member of Boys to Men. Everything you hear, see, enjoy is recorded for us by DeShawn Davis and Regis at Dream Air Productions. We are distributed by the Slideshow Network. We'll be right back.
Holla at your boy.
We're at our last fight of the evening. And speaking of last
Yes.
but not least, Easy's no sellout. And if you can't hang in the streets, then get the hell out. We have
in the house.
I've known him since he's knee high. He still is knee high. Let me lead into this. This is an important shirt that I sentimentally wear on this show, and I wear it for sentimental reasons. This is the fight that Brane and I went to in person. That was my first UFC to ever see live in maybe 15 years. Where the good people at the UFC gave us VIP status, and we got to hang out and watch a fight with Demetrius Johnson and Rumble.
Oh, yeah. Good times.
A lot of Johnsons. It was great. And the reason why we went to this fight was, even though it was Nick Diaz versus Anderson Silva, it was two people we love dearly. We also felt that the 185 division, the middleweight division, was the most cream of the crop of all of the UFC.
Creme de la creme.
It was where the holding ground of where all the talent really decided, where it all came together. Speed, precision, power, technique.
Yes.
And that's just our opinion. So every time there's a fight that happens in the middleweight division, especially for the belt, I'm particularly interested because this is the division I watch the most. I think the equivalent might be if you're a basketball fan and you only watch Western conferences, or you're a baseball fan and you only watch this, or you're really into this type of offense in football. For me, the middleweight division is, you really can't just be a specialist there anymore. I mean, the whole sport is turned that way, but you really got to master 3 to 4 arts to hang in
The middleweights. Yeah. Definitely.
And so we come to a run it back,
185.
which I will call the Battle of Two Islands. The first island being represented by somebody near and dear and close to my heart, Robert the Reaper Whittaker. You guys know I've waxed poetic in Cage Cousins. I have family from New Zealand. I spent a lot of time there. And I've watched this dude from tough to climbing the ranks to becoming champion. An amazing, incredible fighter. And he is taking on Yoel, the Soldier of God, Romero, from another island, close and near dear to my heart, Cuba, which, aside from having huge amounts of historical impact and cultural with the liberation of African-American folk, also being the beginning of our journey on this continent, where we were brought to where we were when the pirates stole us. So to see these two men go to war and their two unique styles being the product of the islands they came from is amazing. And to have it happen in Chi-Town, where it cleaned up.
Where it cleaned up.
What?
Like a fly, Malcolm X. Where it cleaned up. You'll get the reference later. Chicago has a huge historic significance in terms of the change of our culture.
Definitely.
Right.
Yes.
And our ability to refine things.
Yes.
This will not be the first time these two men have met.
Peep that nuance, though.
Right. Exactly. It's always about following the trickster myth, so you have to speak in multiple layers to protect oneself. Because the minute you reveal that there's a briar patch, they can pull you out of it.
How did you get here?
Don't put me
Nobody's
in the
supposed to be
briar
here.
patch.
The briar patch. Okay.
Wow.
There's donkey.
Yeah. I'm almost exhausted, these guys.
I love you, Mike.
I love you. So, quick clarification. Yoel Romero, when he destroyed Chris Weidman,
Killed him.
Obliterated him.
He killed
Hold
him.
on, wait,
I love that
wait,
knee.
wait. Literally split his wig.
yeah,
He
literally,
killed him. He killed him.
he grabbed the mic and started speaking. And he was misinterpreted because his accent is so thick, man. Most people thought he said, "You cannot have gay Jesus." When in fact, what he said, "Don't forget Jesus." There are things that I laugh about in this world, and there's things that I cannot stop laughing about. There's a certain comedian who is an MMA commentator who has a podcast. And when
Now, who could that be?
and when this
You gonna get this, Joe Hogan?
when this man does his imitations of Yoel Romero,
Oh, he's.
I cannot keep focus.
Man. He really nails it, though.
Yeah,
Like,
he really does. It's,
he really
and
is
then you hear
like-
him talk to him. Let me tell you something, ho. When he started to, the whole time he called him ho. And then Joey Diaz wasn't helping either. Explaining all this great stuff to Joe Rogan about how, like, anytime you see a black guy speaking Spanish, that's a Cuban, man. It's great. And watching Joe Rogan learn about Santeria, it was great. Why? I mean, would I be happy if either person won? Sorta, yeah. I respect both of these guys deeply. But I also feel like this fight again is going to take the sport to the next level.
Yeah, this is a fight that needs to happen. That needed to happen a while
Needed
ago.
to happen. Why didn't it happen? Why did it take so long?
Injury.
Injury for Whittaker, and then Romero had to climb his way back up through the ranks by beating Rockhold. What are the unique styles that we have here? First of all, Whittaker is a boxer. Many people don't know this. Boxing is a pastime in New Zealand. They're pretty incredible. They start at a young age. He is also the product of a Maori Australian marriage. So by being Maori, he is Polynesian. I have a Polynesian with me. by culture. Is it safe to say that the fight culture is and culture of pride is a very important thing in the Polynesian culture?
Oh yes.
So this is not somebody who is a stranger to fighting.
Nope.
In fact, pain is seen as a rite of passage. You're a threshold, so he can absorb a lot of pain. In addition, he has a secret weapon. There's a game that is played in the Polynesian Islands that was originated in England that nobody is better than these people, and it's called rugby.
Yep.
The best teams in the world all congregate in the area of New Zealand, and they play for a team called All Blacks. However, this team became competitive because it was composed of Fijians, Samoans, Western Samoans, Maori, and they each brought a unique style to the game. You can watch this on a great documentary called Island Warriors on Netflix. It's phenomenal.
I haven't seen that.
I'm gonna check that out.
Another great documentary that I love is called Fire in Babylon about the West Indian Caribbean cricket team when they went against the Australians.
Nice.
Amazing stuff.
Fire in Babylon.
Yeah, I'm all about sports documentaries. And then, so why is the rugby important? Part of rugby is like football, where you actually resist tackling. It's football. It's where football came from. It's football without pads.
Right.
But you practice against 300-pound men who are trying to take you to the ground.
Yeah.
We call that takedown defense. And if you watch a game of rugby, you cannot take down Polynesians. They don't fall.
Right.
No.
They do not fall.
They just truck right through you.
Their legs start talking to the earth. It's almost like, remember that game, like The Legend of Zelda? Region, what's the name of those earth?
No, better yet.
You know what I'm talking about? The earth
Better
dudes
yet.
who like roll? What are they?
Old
I know you.
school Tecmo Bowl.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Just do.
Right? Okay.
All of a sudden, the guy just starts flying. You got Bo Jackson, you running through the hole, and then the guy
Yep.
comes to you, and you just start flying.
Truck stick.
That's yeah.
That's why they
Here's
got
the
those,
other
those
secret-
thighs that look like tree trunks.
Right. And here's the other secret weapon that Robert Whittaker has. The sea level and altitude of the islands of Australia and New Zealand is very high. The elevation may even be higher than training in New Mexico. Okay, so the cardio of people down there is incredible. So for here, we leave work every day and we go get drunk and high or whatever. They go out and run 7 miles and then go do that and wake up. They're not playing out there.
Yeah.
They're not playing. When I really came back on my beast mode was when I spent a month in New Zealand. It was like, oh, you can't get a single deal done. You know, here you meet somebody at a bar or the golf course. Out there, you got to be able to like, oh, let's fight 10 rounds.
Yeah.
And then we could talk. You know what I mean? Then they're facing Yoel Romero. Show me.
Soldier of God.
If you haven't already, I'm a big fan of attribution. I hate stealing, okay? So if somebody does something better, I think you should go look at it. If you have not and you love MMA, listen to the Joe Rogan interview with Yoel Romero. It will blow your mind. But when you learn about the Cuban socialist communist system of athletics and what you have to do to go through that, this dude living in a dorm with like 30 other dudes who are competing, they're like, if you win your match today, you get to eat.
Yeah.
And the cold part about Cuba, especially because we're talking about a guy in Yoel Romero who is our age. So we're talking about
Or allegedly.
Sorry.
Allegedly.
My bad.
Ain't no birth certificate.
My bad.
Allegedly.
My bad. So
So it
with
could
that
be
being
older.
said, we're talking about at that particular time, the Cuban government did not believe in having professional sports. So they went through these camps. They went through these camps with literally nothing else to really play or fight for.
Right.
So that's what makes this whole thing interesting. It's the old crab in the barrel.
Oh, absolutely. Because they're only
Type of
trying to get to the
technique.
Olympics.
And he gold medaled in the Olympics, right?
Straight up.
Silvered.
Silver. Got it. Okay.
Oh,
So
I thought he was.
Silver.
now here's another interesting thing. Okay, so you have that, and you have this factor, and then he goes off high level, and then he gets introduced to MMA, and he's also the same coach that recruited him for his wrestling. He's a wrestler. That's his base.
Yeah.
Also was his Taekwondo teacher. Which is
know
why
that
his Taekwondo, his strikes are actually wrestling strikes. But the timing, if you look at it, and then also as you follow boxing, you know, Cuban boxers are incredible.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
Then you add in this new piece that we saw against Luke Rockhold, which is he's been training in Albuquerque, New Mexico with none other than Yanni Jones.
So we may get an eye poke.
So if you see that streak of viciousness, what he's talked about in learning is once you have them hurt, you have to follow up. And it was Robert Whittaker who resisted his flurry, who has always lured people into it. Goes back to the pain absorption. The missing piece in this to think about also is Robert Whittaker has been doing some sneaky practicing. There's a guy from the island of New Zealand by the name of John Danaher. Why does that name ring true? John Danaher is the tactical and jiu-jitsu coach for George St. Pierre.
Uh-oh.
And he talks
GSP.
He talks very well about how New Zealand, because it has a culture of gentleman sport, when people get into street fights, they stand them back up. So there wasn't a wrestling culture for many years.
Oh.
But the thing about New Zealanders, about Kiwis, is once something goes there, it explodes. So they have a learning curve that is very quick. Okay? And they also, by the way, invented long distance running and only rivaled by Kenyans and Africans, you know?
Africa.
So the secret is, I suspect that Robert Whittaker has actually been training with John Danaher, who is also the master of leg locks.
Okay.
So, what are the ways to win? Okay, let's go down the line. Karate versus Taekwondo. Let's go to our resident expert here.
Now, when we're talking about karate versus taekwondo, karate basically focuses on the counter strike or the blitz attack. There really is no in between with karate. You are standing on the ball of your feet. You are loose in your stance, and it depends on each fighter. Take, for instance, the ultimate karate practitioner in mixed martial arts history, Lyoto Machida.
Yes.
Who is you've seen him knock out fighters in both ways with counter strikes and the blitz attack. Mm-hmm. Most recently, the counter strike with Vitor Belfort. With Taekwondo, you have basically, you're focused on hybrid stances. You want to focus on roundhouses to either the body or the head, and most of the time, one or the other opens up one or the other. Okay. So that is what you're focusing on with Taekwondo. Now, Taekwondo is a little bit more of a tweener than karate is. Karate is an either or, whereas Taekwondo, depending on the fighter, is a tweener. Let's take, for instance, Benson Henderson. Benson Henderson, as you would see, especially at the prime of his career, you would see him either counterattack or he would be extremely aggressive, but he would do it most of the time from the southpaw stance, right, even though he could switch to orthodox. Right. So it depends. With Taekwondo, it depends on the opponent. What you will see out of most Taekwondo practitioners is they like to stand in the stance that is the opposite of their opponent.
Right. Then when you line up the boxing, Cuban boxing, absorb a lot of damage, likes to come forward, a lot of power-based, short, quick strikes, like we saw against Luke Rock. Explosions, like we saw against New Zealand boxing. Very tight, likes to counter. Okay, move under, and always a lot of head movement. So you might see that, as we saw last time, Yoel opens himself for a lot of strikes when he goes for power. Okay, so if it stays in that tight pocket, it's going to go to Whittaker. Now we go to the next X factor. We know that Yoel Romero's wrestling might be some of the best in the UFC.
I mean, it's literally world class.
It's just he's in that realm. I mean, GSP, Cormier.
He's up there.
Jones.
For my money, Cormier is the best ever.
He is.
But Romero is definitely in that class.
Right.
Yes.
Okay?
I mean, after all, Romero's the one who medaled, not Cormier.
But so Cejudo's the only gold medalist in the UFC then.
That is correct.
But meanwhile, you got Whittaker, who's got access to not only tons of jiu-jitsu, which we know he's pretty high belted, but he's also got Australian judo. And as we've learned from past conversations with JK, how do you counter wrestling?
Judo, baby.
So, if you believe in a numeric criteria analysis, we're at the 2-point mark for Whittaker.
All y'all Moneyball nerds.
Right. Now, the final X factor. While Robert Whittaker is, in fact, part Kiwi, he's also part Australian.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And Australians are descended from prisoners.
There you go.
And Australians...
That is a fact.
Okay.
These were exiled British prisoners.
Right.
Australia also contains the most poisonous animals in the world.
Yes.
Right.
While Robert Whittaker, in interactions people have seen, and in the interactions I've had with him, is a very decent, nice person, he's also in a culture that does not give an F.
Well, there you go.
And when he needs to hurt somebody, he's going to. So the same lesson that Yoel Romero thinks he learned about following up, Whittaker knows he has to kill this man to keep the belt. He has to kill him.
Now that's interesting because I don't see this fight going any different than the first.
I don't.
I agree.
In fact, I think the real deciding factor is who is the referee.
Now it depends because I mean, unless
last time
this old dog has learned a new trick, meaning Romero, I can't see this fight going any different.
Who was the ref in the last fight?
Can we find out?
Probably can't. Not in a quick way. But we're not going to have John McCarthy.
Right.
We have Herb Dean.
Right.
Or
Lauren Roberts. I mean, I'm sorry, Leon Roberts. It
No.
could be Leon Roberts.
If we have
it
Herb
could
Dean-
be Mark. It could be Mark Goodard.
Okay, another
Mike
reliable.
Beltran.
Right?
Mike
No.
Beltran.
One of those three.
Mike Beltran. Okay.
If Romero tries that knee kick again,
it
it's
could
not
be
gonna.
Pedersen. It could also be Peterson.
My point is, if you have a high-level ref who is not about the okie doke, that knee stuff that Romero was doing, that kind of hiding those inverted John Jones kicks to the knees, is not going to fly.
Okay. Got it.
He got away with it last time.
Got it.
Because the ref wasn't hip,
Okay.
right? They won't fly again.
Okay.
They're going to be looking for it, right?
Okay.
But I don't see this fight going any different. I'm going to go Team Whittaker for 2 reasons. I think he could do it, and 2, I want to make sure my Kiwi wife doesn't kick me out of the house.
Right.
Smart. Intelligent decision.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yes, sir.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
we all together.
Baby, I want to keep you
Divorced
happy,
for
baby.
How will
16
this-
years.
how will this-
I don't really
He doesn't.
give a
How will this happen, though? I think he's going to choke Romero out in the 4th round.
Wow. Okay.
Funny, I was gonna say I think he might get the submission on this.
Yeah,
one.
I think it's going to go from TK. I think it's going to go from striking to ground and pound to a chokeout. Thoughts?
I'd like to take Robert Whittaker, mate.
Also, another moment to think about in terms of Australians. Junkrat is an Australian. Okay, I'm done.
I don't know what that means, but they got animals that'll knock you out. The kangaroo.
The
I
jelly.
quit. I
The
quit.
jelly.
I think what we're going to see is something very similar to the first fight.
Yes.
The stick and move, leg kicks, making sure that Romero was unable to take Whittaker down. I think Whittaker is going to use his superior footwork, his superior intellect, and his superiority really in age to win this fight. I see this being an exact mirror image of fight number 1.
Great.
I personally think that Yoel is starving for this. I think he's been waiting for this for so long, and I just think he's really going to capitalize on this moment. But I think he's going to win by catching Whittaker on a mistake. That's what I think. I don't think like he's just going to just brazenly outskill Whittaker. I think Whittaker is going to end up making a mistake that Yoel will capitalize on.
Whittaker
Probably
ain't
like
made
in the
that
second.
kind of mistake since 2014. So
Yeah,
good
but
luck.
Yeah.
Good
You
luck.
talk about Yoel,
I
it
wouldn't be
can happen
surprised
with
about
Yoel.
it. I wouldn't be surprised about it.
Yeah, but that's what
Yoel
I
has
don't
that.
think Yoel is going to just outclass him. I just think that Whittaker will end up making a mistake, and Yoel will catch that mistake.
Bottom line, Robert Whittaker is the better fighter, and you will see that in this fight. Period.
Okay, so
I can't wait to see it. I think it's going to be a glorious fight. I think it's
I've
going to
been
be a
waiting
fight
for
of the
this all
night.
year.
if Mikey Mo ends up right, do we run that back right away?
I think so.
And if the three of us
No, it
are right,
depends.
who's next for
No,
Whittaker?
if you run it, you only run it back if it's a decision. If it's conclusive.
But who would be next for Yo? Like, who's the next contender after this fight?
There's plenty of people to bring to bring
Yeah,
up.
in the
I don't know. In the middleweight division, I don't see
There's
anybody
no
that's
ways he
up there
can
with
go.
these two guys.
Gastelum.
Definitely.
True.
Definitely.
I forgot
And
about
Gastelum is
Kelvin.
next. Isn't Gastelum next?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Lozenge, and you're defeated.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gastelum is next.
That's true.
For
I forgot about
wins
Gastelum.
this, whoever wins this has to fight Gastelum.
Unless they have another fight in the meantime, unless somebody gets injured and there's an interim belt, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But the middleweight division is always going to be growing. That's what I'm saying.
There's always wars.
And
waiting.
I'm telling you, once they add that 165, 175, people are going to shift.
I was gonna say, once they add that,
That's
do you
gonna
think
be the
Yoel
real-
will go for 195 belt?
I don't think 195 is coming yet. I think 165 will come, and I think 165 will be invented once Sauron. Here's what I think what they're doing.
Voldemort.
They're waiting for GSP to get his medical clearance, and he'll come back at 165.
No, he
and
wants to
face
fight
off.
at 155.
He's saying that
He can't do
because he can't talk about the other stuff.
Yeah.
You're right,
okay.
but he can't talk about the other one. He'll do the 165
I think if they add
Sorry.
one though, they'll just be like
because he don't want Khabib.
Nobody wants them problems.
He really don't want Khabib.
That'd be a good fight, though.
It would, but he don't want
That'd
Khabib.
be a
He don't want
really
them
good
problems.
He
fight.
don't want it.
Not at his age.
Hey.
Nobody want them problems.
Hey, after
Khabib.
what's my man that just hung with Khabib? What's his name?
Al Quinta.
Yeah, Al Quinta. After he hung with Khabib like that,
That's why I know it's going to be.
I feel like
He
Khabib was
hung, he hung with Nurmagomedov
It's gonna be-
because there was no preparation.
It's going to be Khabib.
and I feel like Khabib held back a little bit to
he's nice.
lure
Yeah.
Sauron in. Because if he just go out there and just ground and pound the way he did Edson Barbosa,
Now, if that was Voldemort,
Conor wants none of that.
What? What'd you say?
He wants none of it.
just said Voldemort. Voldemort is what
I
he
have
said.
no idea who
Yeah.
Voldemort
He
is.
said Voldemort.
Sauron.
Sauron.
Kaka McPoo-poo.
All right, look. What is it going to look? Here's the business side of it. What does it take to get Sauron back in the ring? Another belt?
No.
Right, that's all he
money.
wants. He,
No, if three
he
belts?
just wants to win belts
Oh,
and not
yeah.
defend them.
There you go.
That man has
So,
never defended
All
a
right.
belt in his life, and he
I think we
has
got our
twice
decision.
been double champ.
I want to talk about a fight and a match that's not actually on this card.
Okay.
Okay.
A match that has been going on its 10th round. But we finally got a definitive decision.
going. I already know where he's going.
I would like to talk about the fight between
It's my guy versus yours.
Drake and Pusha T.
Oh man.
Already
Pusha
knew where
T
he's going.
is
Already
very
knew where he was
disrespectful.
going. Already knew it.
Pusha T won most disrespectful man of the year so far.
No, not so. That's not that disrespectful.
By the way,
Yay, man.
by the
Of
way,
the year or okay, of the year or of rap?
No, of the year
Of the year.
of
Well,
the year in rap.
but there's not that much disrespect, so it's kind of like lowering the bar. But he's just battling.
Yeah, but he went. I mean, yo,
He's just battling.
he went after dude's sick friend. He went after his dad. He went after his mom.
Isn't that a battle though? Ain't that a battle?
Hey, I'm gonna tell you like this.
He did it. Here's
as
here-
a rapper,
Yes.
if anyone comes at me like that, I have to fight them. I don't care how
Interesting.
big they are, how
Interesting.
small they are. The level of disrespect that Pusha T showed to him He has to fight him.
Well, let me
Drake
tell you.
has to just snuff him on sight.
Let me tell you something.
That's how I feel about it.
That's what happened when
I know you know this, but maybe the Cage guys is on this. Years ago, in a galaxy far, far away, I used to be a rapper. And I used to battle. And for me, you can say whatever you want in a battle as long as you don't talk about putting hands on me. Now I have to.
But
now
you're a battle rapper.
Oh, you styling
a battle
on me.
rapper, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, see me, I'm not a battle rapper.
Ah.
You know what I mean? I'm
And
not
I
a
think-
battle rapper,
but I
so
think
I'm
that's-
sensitive.
But you know who you sound. You know who you sound like?
Who?
Are you upset? Are you upset?
Oh, man.
Are you upset? I'm just wondering.
Oh,
Because if you're upset, Mikey Mo, I want you to take care. Look at that.
I think this is a work. I think it's a work.
See my watch? It's views from the 6. Okay. But this is the core difference. I think this is why we're talking about this, is because the fan base has not grown up with the culture the way we have. And there's a lot of problems with hip hop.
No.
Oh,
I'm not going to defend it the way I would 20 years ago. There's a lot of problems.
Yeah.
There's a lot of problems.
Yeah.
But they don't know
Yeah,
the difference. They don't know the difference at all. So to you to say, oh, battle rapper, I'm just writing good songs. That's what Push is trying to point out to him. Hey, stay in your lane.
Yeah.
You're just a songwriter.
Exactly.
I battle.
Yes.
And you thought I just write about selling drugs. No. Grinding. So
that boy.
So this is not a work. I think it's a work.
grinding.
Didn't they just both come out with albums?
Yeah.
But still, no. I don't think
Breaking
Drake just came
kayfabe.
out with anything.
It could be a work because they both have Adidas deals.
Yeah.
It could be a work because they're all behind closed doors. They all, I think what it is, and I'll tell you this about rap, man. One thing about hip hop, tell me if I'm wrong, there's a lot of frenemy stuff that people do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hip hop is 85% frenemies.
Everybody's like shaking their hands, whatever. And after a time,
Everyone's yeah. And then they could go to the next room and talk shit about you.
Wait.
that Mikey Mo guy.
Pause. Men do that?
Yeah, I know.
Rappers do.
They should just put on gloves and fight. So
Exactly.
Point being,
Exactly.
I would love to.
Exactamundo.
I think point being
gonna keep
about the
recording.
contest and talking about it is the parallels
Since
with
when
what we
do
care
men
about
do that?
is the difference between style and substance,
Oh man.
Okay.
right?
See,
Yeah.
So
That's
you might
because
as well,
they're
it,
still boys. They didn't go.
it might be
to men
RDA
yet.
versus Kobe all over again. You fans of Kobe are used to him talking, "Oh my God," but if you really, even if you're not a fan of Push, if you do a line by line analysis, it's not really that deep what he said. It's just somebody who is good at what they do.
Yeah, and it's just
Hey, Beavis. He said, "Do a line."
But if you really want to go, are you a Push fan?
yeah. I used to live in Virginia.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, I've been to. Yo,
But how long
I'm
is
a
he?
huge?
How
I'm
long
a
has he
huge
been
Clips
dissing?
fan.
How long has he been dissing Drake? Like 5 years, right?
Yeah, he's been.
He's been
pooping
This is
on
like
Drake
this is
and
like
Wayne.
this is like round 15.
Yeah.
Drake been doing this for 15 rounds.
Yep.
And one time,
is that
one time
picture
he threw that little punch like, "Stop, bad man."
So that's funny because
And
I
then push it-
follow a fighter that's in the UFC that's from LA, and he says that this is round 8. Drake's won the first 7, but he's not going to make the bell for round 9. What does that mean?
I
don't know
which,
what
which,
he
means.
which fighter is that?
Tyrion Ware.
Oh, let me not even start on his record.
yeah.
That is incorrect. That is Mr. Ware.
Yeah.
Mr. Ware.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That is incorrect.
yeah.
That is factually incorrect.
Yeah.
You clearly know more about me, more about MMA and getting a UFC contract than I do. But that's factually incorrect.
Yeah.
Drake has been beyond silent. He had all this time for me to
Mr. Sweet.
respond. He had nothing to say to
Mr.
Push.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Mr. Sweet.
Yeah.
You forgot we live in a society of alternative facts.
True.
That's what hip-hop is,
I do not like Drake one
Hip-hop
bit.
is
I don't
alternative
really know
facts.
a
Pusha
galaxy
T.
of it.
Yeah, thank you for talking about it, brother.
Yeah.
Because it's getting bad. Like where
Yeah.
people are. But again, it's this is not Ether versus Takeover.
No, not
And
at all.
let me explain what I mean by that. Takeover was unequivocal facts about 3 different rappers who need to get talked to, and to body 3 rappers in one song is never been heard of. But
I only knew it was about Nas. Who was the other 3? I mean,
Prodigy,
Yeah, Prodigy, Nas, and I forget. I don't even remember.
J.O. Felony.
What is that?
Oh man, yeah. See, that's what I forgot.
Your beach ain't long enough.
Yeah, man.
So okay, real
So
quick.
three
real
rappers
quick.
get bodied, whereas Nas says, I don't have facts to win. I don't have facts to win. I'm going to say the most emotional play to the girls on the corner laugh track that I can. And he went,
he
That-
bodied.
that's all he did. I don't know if he bodied it. We disagree there. But all he did is play to emotion.
On Ether?
There's no facts in Ether. And on top of which, homophobic.
I just think both beats were hard.
I think Ether was very disrespectful. The most disrespect. The only track I've ever heard more disrespectful. There's two. Hit 'em up, of course, because that was just like, oh my god.
Yeah, that was disrespect.
But Common, when Common went at Ice Cube,
Be in you. But I know an even more disrespectful one than the Common. Common wasn't disrespectful. Common was just letting you know, like, you think you think you could get away with that, but I'm gonna let you know I actually hang out with gangbangers in Chicago. I'm just gonna let you know.
That's the thing. Yeah,
That was what was
just
an
the
animal
whole
battle MC.
story with it and everything.
You're not ready.
And for him to,
You're not ready.
For Common to step
Common,
to Ice Cube,
but-
that was huge.
But the one-
But Common is just a
And it
different
was-
type of MC.
Oh, yeah,
as
he's
far,
just a monster.
as far as I'm concerned,
Yeah.
probably the most underrated MC out there. Period.
That's not named Black Thought.
yes,
Just saying.
Okay.
Just saying.
More disrespectful, Bloodhound by 50 Cent.
yeah,
Who
that
did he
was-
go at?
Ja Rule.
Yeah, that was bad. That
Your
was
mama, your daddy,
Yeah.
you're chasing.
Ja Rule is just garbage, though.
Hey,
Hey,
I
but
came
Ja
to,
Rule had it.
This fool-
needs a lady.
This fool said, I came to the rap game to serve and conquer. You rap for hoes and you sound like the Cookie Monster.
Me love cookie.
Yo,
Okay, but
You know what I mean?
so,
Like, that's the type of thing when you hear it, it's just, you're like,
did he just say that?
so
to
say
can
that,
I
but like, when
parallel
you-
this real
if
quick?
he's saying that to you and your Ja Rule, it's like all you can do is just squint and like go eat some onions.
But that's
Like,
why they fought.
that's all he ever
See,
did
I'm
anyways.
from Queens. That's the thing. I'm from Queens, and they fought after that.
yeah, and
They
before
fought.
that, yeah.
And
For
Ja
one.
Rule got punched over a speaker.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you don't. Size-wise, 50 Cent is way bigger than Ja
They
Rule.
trying to say that he's gonna fight
Ja
Rampage and
Rule
Bears.
the one.
Bellator.
I'm not
Smoke
talking.
with
See,
50. Like,
no
I seen-
rumors.
Okay, real quick.
This is not
My
the
bad,
rumor
my bad,
show.
My bad.
Facts.
My bad. I just want to parallel
Not
it real
alternative
quick.
facts.
I just want to parallel it real quick.
Facts.
I just want to parallel it real quick. Because I say Ja Rule is trash. He says, but he had it popping. Now,
Yes.
I don't know much about this whole Drake and Pusha T beef.
Right.
I don't like Drake as an artist. I've heard some of his music and none of it was impressive to me. I don't know much about Pusha T, but I went and listened to the two diss tracks they recently did.
Yeah.
And I heard Drake say the whole like talk to me when you're a multimillionaire. So is it the same thing? Because I feel
Yes.
like Drake is
It
trash,
is.
but obviously
But
he
here's the thing.
has the
Here's the-
crowd.
here's the problem.
Whereas Pusha T,
Here's
like,
the problem. Even in the way
common
they
people
framed
don't
it,
know him,
the way they
right?
framed it. Push puts out this EP, okay, and the last song's called Infrared, and really he's talking about Baby and Wayne, like
Yeah.
he's been doing for 10 years.
Yeah, he's been subliminal.
In the last
on them.
4 bars, he's like, I know, he's basically telling Drake, I know you're gonna jump up in this. Okay? I'm already fighting 2 dudes.
Yeah,
And I should only be fighting 1, but they're so, the way they are, they gotta fight me 2-on-1. I know you're gonna climb over the cage and jump in it. So when you do, I'm gonna stick it to you.
Yeah,
So if you don't want it, stay quiet.
yeah.
Then Drake comes in with some duppy freestyle, which, let's break that down. What is a duppy?
Duppy is the souls that attack you when you're sleeping, right?
I've trained my young Puerto Rican well. A duppy comes from Jamaican culture, big up massive. Now, and it's also it could be a soul, but really what it is, it's the Jamaicans from Africa hiding their culture from the conquering Europeans and their spirits and things like that. The polyanimism, the Orishas or whatever region they're from, and those spiritual things, the saints, they're calling them duppy. So when you say Duppy, you're really saying ghost. And why are you saying ghost to Pusha? You're saying you have ghost writers. You're basically saying that Ab Liva, right? See how disrespectful it is? You're basically saying Ab Liva writes your stuff, Push, which is why is this disrespectful to MCs?
Yeah.
We know, see how we knew the difference between a battle rapper and a rap? To say that to Push, who is the ghostwriter for everybody else.
Yeah, for the whole good music.
And used to be a ghostwriter for Baby and Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
It's really disrespectful.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent. I'm trying to find out a way that I could really upset you. It's like saying, you know what, you've been working with kids for 20 years, Brane, but you don't know much about children. It's really, really disrespectful.
It's that level, yeah.
It's very disrespectful. So Push's response to him, to fight him and to use the MMA analogy is,
nuclear.
You're gonna throw that whack haymaker and then turtle up. I'm gonna take you down and do a rear naked choke on you. So the whole world can see that when I put pressure on you, you're not built for this.
Yeah.
So is Pusha like a superstar like those guys are?
No, he hasn't made that type of money, but he's
no.
Yeah. So is it because he doesn't put his music on the radio?
It's been on the radio. It's Ye. He writes for Ye.
I mean, his actual spitting.
Dark Twisted Fantasy. He wrote that.
I don't think I've ever heard that album.
That was probably his best album.
Runaway.
It might have been
Power.
his best, his top album.
Arguably.
Yeah, clearly.
No, I love the first three.
No,
you're saying it's better than
Dark Twisted.
Dark Twisted Fantasy. Although
I think late registration was my favorite.
Now that I gotta say, now that I'm married, Life of Pablo.
I heard a little bit of that when I wasn't.
And here's the other one I've realized: when I do the yard, when I mow the yard and I do chores, Jesus is incredible in the earphones.
I like Jesus.
Jesus will help you get chores done, right?
I like Jesus. Yeah.
So did Kanye drop today?
I don't know. I don't care.
I think
Last night,
yesterday,
but I still think it's a troll.
I haven't listened to
I don't think these are real albums. I think he's running out his contract. I think it's like, okay, Jay.
Yeah, and he's playing the heel now, right, with the whole Donald Trump thing.
But if he's a heel to us, who's he a face to?
The man.
See?
Because remember at the time when he was a heel to Taylor Swift fans. Mm-hmm. See what I'm saying? He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, Kanye's brilliant.
Last little thing I'll say. We did our Infinity War podcast, which got such a huge, great review, and I'm sorry you couldn't be here. We'll make it work. We will do one for Ant-Man and Wasp.
Yes.
And the guys from Just Being Earnest really want to be involved. We'll figure that out. But we had a great response, and I appreciate Cage Cousins for trying that. Some of you guys had the comments that you guys are really nerds. But I want to remind you of a couple things. First of all, and I found out the information, so to answer your question. Roy Jones Jr. played the Hulk in the fight scene against Thanos.
Huh.
I did not know that.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
Does that mean that Antonio Tarver was
Maybe that's
Thanos?
why he got whooped so bad.
I was not gonna go there.
What? Again?
I was not gonna go there.
But again,
I promised I was gonna leave that alone.
Right.
It was right there. I was gonna leave it alone. Right.
But again.
It's generally the evil doctor that does it. But I was
Smarty
gonna leave that
Jones.
alone.
That's fair, but at his time, incredible boxer. But a boxer's going to lose against somebody throwing elbows, spinning back fists, and knees.
Just saying.
Guaranteed.
But again,
Let him have his fun.
I think we have to get across to people since the very first Iron Man, and even openly in the second one, there's a scene. You know where I'm going. Tony Stark is in a ring, and he's fighting and sparring with his bodyguard, Happy.
Yeah.
And Pepper comes in with his new assistant, right?
Okay.
And she says, "What are you doing?" And he's like,
this little thing called
mixed
boxing. This little new thing called
mixed martial arts. It's only been around for like 2 minutes. And Happy goes, "Sounds like a little bit of dirty boxing to me." So ever since then, every single fight scene in an Avengers movie is MMA. Why do you think we're talking about this stuff?
Including the very prominent scene where T'Challa had to put the inverted triangle
on M'Baku.
Yep.
And then on top of which, use that with some knife play and some roundhouse. I mean, we could sit there and nerd out and talk about him throwing kicks.
With the kick though.
When Happy tried to put hands on Black Widow, she armbarred him, right?
Right.
Yep.
She's a jiu-jitsu master. Or when she fought Hawkeye, right?
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu versus judo.
When he had that red eye from,
Right.
what was that, the Tesseract or something?
Right. No. In Civil War. when they fight on when they fight on the runway.
Yeah.
So there's every time in every movie, there's always been a sense of mixed martial arts. I mean, one of the classic stories is if you look at Tony Stark is a wrestler. If you think about what the Iron Man suit does, it's basically a double leg. Well, he launches into somebody, it's a double leg takedown. Right?
Yeah,
Whereas
that's true.
Captain America is a boxer. He's always on the bag.
Here we go again, Cage Cousins.
We're going to do a couple more of those. But thank you very much. We'll see you at our favorite and friendly sponsor, Seawolf. JK may be in
Shout out to
Chicago.
Seawolf. Yes.
You're going to be in Portugal.
Yes, I will be in Europe.
Bring us back some port.
Yes.
Actually, where it's from.
I will try to do so.
It's been an absolute pleasure. I'll see you soon. Next time we talk, I'll be 1 year older. But that just makes me better, like wine. I am the SweetMBA. I am joined by
The evil doctor, J.K. Akins.
Wells.
And Mikey Mo the MC.
Brane Damage.
Everything you are seeing, experiencing, and feeling has been brought to you by the great media skills of just DeShawn Davis and Regis at Dream Ear Productions.
Salute to Dream Ear.
We are distributed by the Sly Show Network. By the way, I have an Infinity War soundtrack that I curated for Sly coming out.
And it is awesome.
Nice.
And there's a hint. If you've seen the movie and you look at the soundtrack, there's a theme. And if you can guess the theme, we will give you one chicken wing from Seawolves.
You don't get to pick.
Fried hard.
And if you
If
can
that's a leg or a wing.
And if you can guess both themes of the soundtrack, you will get our new Cage Against the Machine album, Boys to Men. Featuring
we go to the end of the road.
I feel like I'm at a concert.
Hey y'all.
belong together.
Hey, I know Casey feels me. Like, remember when you were a kid and you were about to go on a field trip? And your mom, she gives you the last little thing and she's like, hey, you don't sit by that boy. every time you get suspended in trouble, it's always the same story. Well, what happened? I was just sitting there with Mikey Mo and JK. I told you not to sit there. And the teacher told us to stop singing. And they kept singing and I couldn't stop laughing.
And damn friends of yours gonna be the death of you.
I told you. And they always tell you, right? They're about to leave to get on the bus. They're like, don't let me catch you with that boy.
Wait till we get to the car.
That's what
boy.
Cage Against the Machine
I'll
is.
beat the soul out of you.
This is just detention. Shout out to Grizz, by the way. I miss you. I know you left us, but shout out to Grizz. We used to have the world's strongest man and a former WWF wrestler with the Hulk Hogan name, Grizzly Brown, and at my middle school, Willard Junior High. And in detention, he was great. He's like, look, you could be here for 2 hours. I was there every day. He's like, you could be here for 2 hours, or if you can cap on each other, whoever makes me laugh the hardest, you get to go home. I was tiny. I knew I could run my mouth. I used to destroy people. But people were just like, got that look, and I know what that look was like. When I get to high school, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
But I used to destroy people.
I feel bad because I taught my kids a couple of weeks ago how to play the dozens.
Yeah.
They was like calling each other like homophobic stuff, and I'm like, no, you got to
That's
go
not
with
clever.
like, you look like Banana Slug.
Right.
One of them said was like, Mr. Ramos, you look like Shrek. Guess that makes you donkey. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Got him.
Right.
Got him.
Right, absolutely. This has been an absolute pleasure.
Yes.
As always, rate, subscribe, comment, like, give us the feedback. We love it. We will see you soon. And without further ado,
Cheers!